I hear you, brother.
All right, bet.
Yeah, man. I've been trying to producing all these different shows a week takes a lot of brain power, man. And man, I'm getting to the point where some stuff just gets so far ahead of me that I don't have it planned. So I'm glad he came in through the fourth quarter, came through on the clutch play and was like, "Hey, man, I got an idea." So shout outs to that brother. Going forward, I might have to start doing that. Um, as far as like taking out, well, I said that I would do that. I would take ideas from y'all as far as like subjects and topics going forward to kind of help me out. Just to
Yep.
stay fresh and new. You know.
So let me ask you this. Let me
Yeah,
ask
go
you this.
ahead. Yeah.
What is your like niche like primarily like between men and women, or what is your is that your niche right now?
Well, on Tik, you mean as far as like relationship topics?
Yeah, like is that your main thing, or is it like do you do like more social issues as well?
So on the Mrs. Z and Fifth podcast, we talk about everything. So I do more social issues there, but I'm going to bring that to Fifth at Night. I am going to
Okay.
bring that element to Fifth at Night. So, but I had to create a base of some of the relationship topics first
Mhm.
before I went to other topics. But don't worry, going forward, Fifth at Night is a platform that will utilize not just relationship topics. You will
Okay.
see that on June 8th.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah, because I got an inspired topic by Jess for June 8th that has nothing to do with the sort of, you know. But there are definitely going to be things that I'll cover, even current events things that I'll cover. You know, um, the reason why I do those topics there is because I tried that here, and people just got all uncivilized. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you remember, but I had a topic called "Would you marry someone with different political views?"
Yes.
and that turned into Trump versus Biden.
Yes.
So and then you know how people are who are Trump fans. They get to the point where the emotions are so emotional that now the conversation's not rational anymore.
Yeah. That's both sides though, to a degree.
Yeah, it is both sides. We know that's both sides because we have someone who's definitely leans more to the left,
Oh yeah.
who can get emotional and the ration goes out the window. But I know Trump specifically,
Yes.
when his name comes up, oh God. And I didn't bring it up, but so some things work better on a closed panel versus a free fall open panel like TikTok. TikTok is like the wild wild west.
Yes.
Anybody can pretty much come on. You know.
Yeah. I'll say this though, like Trump has like an cult following and stuff, so like people gonna rock with him no matter what.
Right, right. And so, I mean, my thing is, if you want to have a rational debate, that's cool, but just make sure that you are having decorum. Stop cutting people
Hmm.
off. Stop over talking them.
Yeah.
They can't even get it out. Some guy got racist with. I don't know if you remember, but some guy made a racist comment towards Mr. Yard on that episode. I had to kick him off the panel.
No, I wasn't there. I don't think I remember that.
Yeah, I don't think you was on that. I don't think you was on at the time of that episode. I think you did come on that episode, but a little later. But yeah, some guy made a comment and he codified it as comment. And I asked him, "Yo, what is that? What does that mean?" And then when he explained what it meant, I was like, "Yeah, let me get you out of here." Some guy came on the panel and said something to him, talked about his accent, and then he said something else, and I was like, nah, let's get you out of here because, come on, man. Like, come on, you know?
Yeah.
So
I'm not gonna lie though, Zacchaeus picked a really unique topic today.
he did. So this is what he did. He gave me an idea, and I had to figure out how to word it because, I'm very mindful of the algorithm,
Yeah.
but no, he gave me a good idea. So let me just say the topic for the algorithm so it helps my discovery. Do relationships bring happiness or reveal what's already within? I think we know how to interpret that. Whatever underlying issues that you may have, things that you may have going on prior to a relationship that you haven't necessarily healed from, gotten counsel for, or insecurities or whatever it is.
Right. Yeah.
That's the kind of thing that's internal. You know what I'm saying? So I'll repeat it again for the algorithm because the algorithm's trying to tell me I'm talking about the other stuff. But let me go back. Do relationships bring happiness or reveal what's already within? Beyonda, if you want to go, you can go ahead and answer that.
I was
Mhm.
well, I say both.
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like people you can be in a state of happy and not have much to your name.
Right. Right.
Well, actually, you know what? That's more joy than happy. You
Yeah.
know. I'm gonna lean towards the second option,
Uh huh.
individuals already within, because I'll say this for myself. There were a lot of like flaws and inadequacies that I had that I didn't really realize until I started dating my fiance.
Yeah.
Um, I knew they were there, but I didn't want to face them. So
Right.
when you're with someone, you're forced to like face them so that you can grow and be a better person, not only for yourself but for them as well. So it definitely revealed what was within, but also like by doing that, it led me to like being happy as well.
Yeah.
So there are definitely like seasons of happiness, like you're gonna be happy, like not have to go through like struggles, but then when you're going through like the struggle season, you have to like learn to be joyful and be thankful for what you already have. Um, so I would say like it's okay to pursue happiness here and there, but like don't rely on it as like your main like thing in life. It can't be your main. It can't be your main reason for doing stuff just to be happy. Because you're not always going to be happy. So when you're not happy, are you gonna crumble and fall and like not know what to do? No, you need to endure, right? And you need to like be able to experience joy in those moments, um, and work on yourself, and as well as like be a rock for your partner. Or actually, no, that's not true. Christ is the rock for both partners, but you need to be a leader. I'd say you need to be a better leader.
Yeah. No, that's a fact. All right, let me get the. We have a brother who's new on the panel. I haven't seen him before. And you there?
Yo, what's up, man? Appreciate you for having me on.
Hey, no problem, man. I just like to explain the rules to anybody who's new to my panel, and that is on here. No cursing, no foul language, and respect each other. Okay. All right. So the prompt is: do relationships bring happiness or reveal what's already within? What do you think, brother?
Man, I think with relationships, especially mine in particular, like, well, my wife, man, this is the longest relationship I've ever been in, man. We've been together for 8 years and been married for 6 months. And I feel like out of all the women I've ever dealt with in my life, man, she has brought the most, I guess you would say, unhealed trauma, like all of the things I guess that I missed as a little kid in my life, like they're coming out now since I have somebody that's bringing them out. Like I wasn't always like the most emotionally in tune, like as a kid, you know what I'm saying? Like, and like if I was emotional, it'd be like, "What? Shut up, man! Stop with all that whining," and all that as a young man. But it's like now, I guess I can be a little bit more. I guess, vulnerable, and I guess it peels back layers from things that I've like suppressed for like a long time. And then I feel like it's kind of on me to be in charge of my own happiness. I feel like it's kind of selfish of me to make her be the reason why I'm happy and all of that. You know what I'm saying? So I'd probably say that.
Yeah, I hear that. I had touched on that. I said whatever's not dealt with before you get with someone will come out in a relationship at some point. You know, if you're somebody,
Absolutely.
you right. I think it definitely exposes it. But you know what? It doesn't have to be a bad thing. It could expose it in a way that you can finally deal with it and fix it.
Right.
I
Yep.
agree because I've become way more like, I guess you could say, like emotionally available and
Yeah,
stuff like that with dealing with stuff, which has made me in return a better man. I think is though.
right.
Yeah, I agree with him because he was saying that like you should be in charge of your own happiness. Because if you put all that pressure on your partner for them to make you happy, that's a lot of pressure. It's really a mindset, Like, am I happy today or am I sad today? You can choose to be happy or choose not to be happy. You have to you know, have that in your head, I guess.
Nah, that's facts. Because I know even with her, like, shoot, one day she might not be feeling it and I might not be feeling it either. But I know, like, with us as being, like, we set the tone for a lot of things. I know they have the whole happy girl, happy world thing and stuff like that. But it really is like, men can do this, that, and the third, and, pick up, get the moon out the sky and all of that. And a woman will still be like, what, you forgot to get the stars? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's really on them for their own happiness. You know what I'm saying? Just like it is with us.
Yeah. One thing that I would say though is like our mindset and our tone and our energy can like alter the way they feel as well. Like there was one day my fiance was having a real bad day, but I didn't know that she was until I got to see her. And like we just had lunch for like 20 minutes. And she said that that literally helped my day because we were just sitting there talking, being together, and that changed her perspective on the rest of the day. She was in a better mood. Whereas if I didn't go to lunch with her, she would have been, feeling like crap, you know. So like for me, it's like if it's like spur of the moment and like they're not like relying on you to make them happy, but as long as like you're always in good spirits, you can really change people's like energy as well.
No, that's facts. Because attitudes are contagious.
Yeah. Well, if you're someone who's not good with not having to handle conflict, that will also come out in a relationship too, because there's going to be conflict. There's going to be something that you're going to disagree on, but it's how you do it, how you react. That definitely comes out in a relationship. You know, because that's two different people with their own things, with their own stuff coming together. Not two people who were not raised the same way, and now you're trying to fit that and mold that and build that with someone. That's not always going to translate well. You know, not that it won't translate at all, but what do you do when that happens? And I'm not talking about like a non-negotiable. I'm just talking about things that little things. You know what I'm saying? Like you may like I mean this is everyday stuff, man. Like you may say something accidentally that may offend your other half. You're not trying to, but once that comes out, how are they gonna respond? They can respond like, you know what, I appreciate that. Or they can flip out. I mean, not everybody handles conflict the same, and I think that's a skill.
Right.
Conflict
Definitely.
resolution. Yeah.
Definitely.
And that could actually expose how you handle it in terms like if you're always someone who's if you're a loose cannon, as soon as a disagreement comes out, oh, that will show up in that relationship and that could very well end a relationship. So that would be exposing what's already within as well. If
You
you're
know
a
what I'll
jealous
say?
person, yeah, go ahead.
This is very controversial too. So I'm gonna say it anyway. I would say that a lot of women, like, if you like, I've watched so many cases, right, where women are getting or divorcing the man and whatnot, and they always say it's how they feel. Oh, I wasn't happy enough. I wasn't, you know what I'm saying? Like it's very selfish. So I feel like in marriage or whatever, I'll say that women pursue happiness more than men do. Men pursue like growth, I guess, because reality makes us grow. Hardship and falling down, getting up, like that makes us men. You know what I'm saying? But like when you address women's like flaws and whatnot, especially if like they're not like a trad wife, like if they're like of the modern type of women archetype, I guess, like calling them out on their BS is like saying the world's on fire. You know what I mean? They won't accept it, and they won't change their ways. You know what I mean? That's my opinion, but I've seen that like quite a bit over the past like 10 years. A woman not wanting to take accountability for their actions. You know, so for men, I feel like it reveals like what's within us, like flaws and whatnot. Like the example that I get, I said, listen, when I met my fiance, I knew I had to step up, otherwise I wasn't going to be in this thing with her for a long time. I have to grow, I have to get better. You know what I mean? And naturally, we both grew together, but that's because she's receptive to like wanting to grow. A lot of women aren't like that. You know?
Yeah, that's true. And look, I'm kind of to chime in on that too, man. Like I can say, like my wife, she's kind of the same way, and it wasn't always like that. Like when we dated, I would say something about, how she may have approached the situation and all of that, and then now she feels like I'm not on her side and stuff like that. But the thing is just about accountability, and I can say probably the same thing for me too. I'm a little bit, sometimes I wasn't always the best at being receptive of constructive criticism either. But over time I've learned that not to put be so in my feelings, and same thing for her. But the thing with modern women is I think it's the lack of accountability. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to be accountable. Even with men too, we don't a lot of guys make a lot of mistakes. But it's I guess sometimes it really is like it's easier to tell a guy, hey bro, you messed up. You know what I mean? They like, okay, my bad, tries to fix it. But then when a woman makes a mistake and we call them out on it, it turns into a whole thing about us not supporting them. But I would want somebody to tell me when I'm wrong so that way I can fix it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so the lack of accountability thing is that's definitely something that's talked about. I mean, I would say a lot of us men once upon a time, and then some of us still do, we will, depending on, and we do this right, depending on what a woman may be giving us or how she look, we will absolve her from accountability.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah,
Men
And
definitely enable
Mhm.
that for sure.
Right, and
yeah,
because there's a history of men doing that, modern women expect that, and they anticipate that. They almost feel that they're entitled to that.
yeah, they do. Which is crazy, honestly.
Yeah, it's the mentality of, oh well, somebody else will clean this up. I made a mess.
Yeah,
Somebody else will clean this up, because usually that's what has happened in the past.
yeah,
I brought this up on another show, and that is when you hear stuff like "happy wife, happy life." That's absolving accountability. When you hear stuff like back in the days when the old school, they used to say, "Even when she's wrong, she's always right." That's absolving accountability. It's insane.
But I think to that, sis, it's very old school. But look at the context of like why that saying was said, right? When men said that, that was for like small things. You know what I mean? But like whenever a man said, "Put his foot down," the woman got in line. So little things that she was right about, let her have that. But like serious stuff that like I'm a man, I'm putting my foot down, then they be quiet. You know what I mean? So like women back then and men back then knew what it was, but now putting your foot down is like all of a sudden emotional abuse, or like saying that you're being mean, or you know what I mean? Like it's like it's
Yeah.
not the same thing. You can't really do it as like you can back then.
And then also to chime in on that, I think that another reason is because man, I'm also a teacher, so it's like I see the lack of like father figures. Luckily, I was blessed to have a father, but it's like when my pops, if he said no straight up, it was no with my sister and stuff like that. No matter how upset you are or this and that, if it was no, it was just straight up no. And I think like a lot of women, they don't have that father figure. Like my wife's dad wasn't really in her life, so it's like she never seen that. Like I guess that father figurehead and see somebody like lead a household, you know what I'm saying? So it translates differently with us being married and stuff like that. If I just said no, or I feel like this isn't the best interest for us and stuff like that, it's just a matter of that's just it. To whereas, growing up, her mom might have said no, but then she kind of bend or something later, later along the lines. You know what I'm saying? So I think that kind of translates over a little bit different now that we're
I definitely agree with that. Having a father in the house is crucial, you know. And I think the removal of fathers in the household was done on purpose to sort of like usher in like these nonsensical things in our society that's damaging us day by day. You know what I mean? So it was done by design. I don't think anything in this world happens by happenstance. You know what I'm saying? Like it's done on purpose. Because think about like how it was. You know, I always say, well, the saying goes, tough times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men, and then it's like a cycle. You know what I'm saying? So now we're in tough times, unfortunately. But it's men's fault as well because men, let it happen. You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of our fault. It's like to let a woman like speak on you and like call you out your name and all that kind of stuff. Like that would never have been said. That wouldn't have been said in 2000. But hey, it's 2026. Different times, man.
Well, they're all things that come from the past, and they're all things that are current, right? And there's nothing new under the sun, right? Everything that's been did has already been done at some point, right?
right.
But I also think that maybe there are things that we got from the old school, and then now we've took it to the extreme now. So maybe they didn't literally mean some of those things, but then now the men of today have kind of, brought it to a level to where men are not even requiring respect before they get into a relationship. And that should be like top two.
Yeah,
Number one, really. It should be number one, to be honest with you.
that's more
Yeah,
important than
but
love.
don't right. But it's like a lot of I hate to be like this, but a lot of our men, a lot of our brothers, like they don't they lack self respect too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they don't know how to exactly respect themselves, let alone other people.
That's true. But
Not for real. But but I think also there are things that we need to look at when we're vetting women. We need to see how she respects strangers.
yes, yes,
A lot of us miss that step, man. We look at how she treats us, right? And that could just be game. But if she doesn't have a common decency for strangers, oh, that disrespect is definitely gonna come back and turn on you. Like I mentioned in the past, like, and I said this for men and women, right? I was coaching both of them. I was basically saying, if you on a date with someone they don't even respect the waiter, that's a clear sign right there.
I always say that a man's number one power in life is to walk away.
Yep.
You gotta learn how to walk away, man. You don't have to put up with that. I don't care how good it is, how pretty she is. You have to walk away. If you walk away, You gain some dignity, some respect, and you will become stronger to the point where you will not tolerate anything less than respect. You know, and a lot of guys, since a lot of guys aren't getting it anyway, any action, they're desperate, so they're going to put up with whatever they have to put up with to get what they want. But in the end, they're tarnishing their respect in themselves while also enabling her bad attitudes and bad behavior. It's a bad time nowadays, for dating. It's a very toxic atmosphere.
It really is on both parties, men and women.
Yeah, man, it's really sad, man, because it's actually just leading to more individualism, and we don't want that. We know that the world is better when we do things together,
It is.
and that's in all areas. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be relationships, friendships, business partnerships,
Right.
social
Everybody
circles.
needs somebody.
We all need each other. You know what I'm saying? And let me tell you something, man. We could all agree. We could all agree. We love women, man. We love
Absolutely.
women. You know what I mean? And we just want the right ones, and we want the right women to have the right men.
Yes.
So that matters, is matching both of those. You know what I'm saying? All right, let me bring up my homegirl, Jess. Hey, Sean, hold on one second. All right, just mute up for a second. Jess, hello, Jess.
Brother from another mother, what's up?
How you doing?
I was chilling. I'm just, still cute, still beautiful. Everything's great.
Yeah, you pretty. Um,
Thank you.
all right.
And you're
So,
handsome.
well, thank you kindly.
Mhm.
He is. I agree with that.
So Jess, real quick before we get into the topic, my I do the TikToks Tuesday and Thursday, and Thursdays is when most of your inspired topics are happening. I just don't always say it. But most of your inspired topics are on Thursdays when you come on, because I designated for Thursday because I know that's when you come on. You know what I'm saying? Just to kind of answer that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. As far as like anything that goes on the Monday, Fifth at Night show, there's two actually. So out of the three that I already have you scheduled for up and coming, there's two that I've picked that you inspired for that. Everything else is still undecided, that I have to kind of plan for as time goes, because I have to, when it comes to Fifth at Night, I have to plan ahead, because Fifth at Night, you've been there. I'm able to do a lot more on there. Show video clips. There's so much more I could do on there versus here. So those topics require more deep in depth research, and also a panel of esteemed people who know how to conduct themselves well on that. This is why, this is why when I get people on that one, it's very different from this one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get that. That
So
answers my question.
yeah. So trust me, I definitely put stuff to the side. Anything that you inspired for, mostly on Thursdays. But Fifth at Night at some point is gonna have topics that are just non-relationship based. So and then whoever who could participate in that conversation definitely will be on there. So but yeah, that's what's up. All right, Jess, you do see the topic. The topic is, do relationships bring happiness or reveal what's already within?
Yeah, I would say it reveals what's already within. I think anybody who would say it brings happiness are demonic, manipulative people, and they're crazy, in the best way to say that. I do believe relationships, as we all have heard before, they're mirrors. But what I also think there are, when we're talking about like Christian relationships, they are vessels to our sanctification. And so you're only going to have the tools that you have inside of you when you get married. You're not gonna like wake up one day after signing that piece of paper or after throwing that bouquet into the field of women, and you're gonna wake up the next day and be different. It's just gonna be an exposition of what you've been working on up until that point, or the maturity that you have up until that point. So that's why I think people, especially single people, should be studying marriage. So when they get into it, right, you already have the tools. You don't have to, your marriage doesn't have to be a trial by fire. And you can be just revealing what you've already been working on. But to the latter, I would say it just reveals what's already within.
Okay, we'll come back to that. Sean.
Yes.
All right. So, brother, I think you're new to the panel, so I'd just like to explain the rules to anyone who's new up here, right? And that is just, no cursing, no foul language, and just, respect each other, all right? So the topic, do relationships bring happiness or reveal what's already within? You have the floor, brother.
All right. I think that depending on the heart of the person you're in a relationship with, and depending on your heart as well, a relationship can definitely bring happiness. I mean, we see that people are already saying you have to be happy with yourself. Well, that's fine. Nobody's saying don't be happy within yourself. However, if you're going to come into my life, are you going to bring opportunities for me to be happy with you, or are you going to bring opportunities for me to not be happy with you? Because I can be happy all by myself. And so I think depending on the heart of the two people in that relationship, then, it could definitely bring happiness. I mean, let's just say you've been working your whole life and you finally get a man who wants to take care of you, or, and now you don't have to work as hard. You can work when you want to because your man got it. Well, that's going to bring a sense of happiness, which in turn is going to bring a sense of peace, which you would not have had if you were not in that relationship or in a relationship with somebody who wanted to give you what you were deserving of. But on that other end, it also can reveal what's already within. Let's just say you finding out that you're not happy with this person in the relationship, or you're not happy in a relationship. Well, now you're getting to realize, okay, I'm literally happier by myself than I am in this relationship. I was literally happier doing all of the things that I needed to do for myself rather than having to worry about another person. And again, that is dependent upon the heart. So yeah.
I could respect that answer.
Yeah, that's a pretty good answer.
It is. Because
No,
I was going to say, when you're in a healthy relationship, it's going to be positive, and there is going to be a time for happiness and joy. Will it do the other thing? Yes. If you are someone who is insecure, jealous, that will definitely be revealed. The mirror, you're always going to have to face that person in the mirror. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, Jess.
Sean, just a clarifying question. When you brought up the bring happiness part, was the example you gave that the woman wasn't, or she was working hard and the man came in and like lessened her load and that's what made her happy?
I said that that was the second example. I did bring that up. Yeah, I said let's just say she has worked hard her whole life and she doesn't want to, and she finally gets a man who's willing to to lighten that load for her, which is I don't want no man who I got to take care of. You know what I'm saying? So that man that you don't have to take care of, he takes care of you, finally comes into your life. That's going to bring an extra sense of happiness, which is going to bring an extra sense of peace.
And so to that, I would say that is the demonic, manipulative
So the host has
POV.
asked us to respect what each other say, and that's not respectful. And I
I'm
won't
not,
continue listening to
I'm
what
not
is
saying you're
disrespectful.
demonic, Sean.
Oh, okay. I thought you was calling me demonic. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Like,
See,
what
look at me not listening. Look at me not listening.
Oh. Okay. Well, I'm saying the woman in that scenario is being demonic, not Sean, because she already showed it from the scenario. She's not happy. She's working a lot, having to do a lot. She's not happy. This man comes in and he makes her happy. I still think that reveals already what was within her, which was the deep unhappiness. But I also think that it's incredibly manipulative for women to get with men because of their finances, because they want to be quote unquote taken care of. Biblically,
I don't think that's what he means, Jess.
Yeah, that's not what I mean at all. If
what do
you,
you mean? I didn't say that. That's what he said. I'm saying the woman in that scenario
but what if
is
she was
manipulative.
happy? What if she was happy, but then
But
you
you
came
just said
along and
she
added
wasn't.
but what? No, no, no. What I said was, what if she's been working all her life and don't want to work? I didn't say she wasn't happy. She could be working all her life and be very happy. I just don't want to work. But I'm happy with the job that I do have, and I'm happy with my bills being paid. However, as a man, for me, I don't get to come into your life and uproot your life and just offer nothing. And also, before you even marry me, I have to showcase to you that I'm some sort of provider. So with that being said, that's going to add to her already happiness. That's go, okay, well, oh, wow. Okay, so I'm paying these bills and I like this dude, but he's coming along and adding to my happiness. He's adding to my life rather than taking away from it. So she was already potentially happy or happy.
But
She just got
Sean,
happier.
I asked you before I even made my submission because I wanted to clarify. Did I not, everybody? So I didn't put no words in your mouth, Sean. I asked you, was your scenario, she was unhappy, and then this man came in and lessened her load, which made her happy, and you said yes.
No,
So
I
then
said no. I recanted what I said. Excuse me. I repeated what I said. I never said no. She was happy, or no, she wasn't happy. I never said that. I said this woman who has been working all her life. I'm gonna say it one more time for the people in the back because the word happy never came out of my mouth. I said that this woman could potentially have been working all her life, and I'm tired of working and doing everything. I'm this, that, or the other. She could have been happy at that job. However, she's been working.
but she's
Let's say
unhappy with the
22
dynamic.
years. 22 years. Well, unhappy with the dynamic is not the same as saying unhappy with my life.
Well,
See, that's the thing.
But
We
it
can't
is
conflate the two.
unhappy though.
We
Are,
can't
but
look. See,
that's what I'm
you see
talking
how I
about.
corrected myself when I started over talking you when I was not even listening.
Well, no,
Could
you
you
did
give me
interrupt me.
could you give me the courtesy?
Sean, you did interrupt me though.
I know. And then I said, you know what? Let me stop. I'm not even listening. Look at me, not even listening. I
I'm
would ask
saying
that you
just
have the same
now.
courtesy.
I'm
well,
saying
In
just
this
now.
in this moment. In this moment.
Let me
I don't
cut
want to
in real
argue.
quick. Well, let me cut in real quick. To be fair, actually, I'm the one who cut Jess off. So I did cut in and interject, but Jess, go ahead and finish, and then Sean can respond because I got to bring Vigilante in. Okay, go ahead, Jess.
Okay, yeah, there's nothing to fight about. I'm not your enemy. All I'm saying is the woman in that scenario who's looking for a provider, I say that that's manipulative and demonic because no man is the provider. God is the provider. And so if a woman is unhappy with her situation, she's working too much, and she's looking for a man to come in and financially take care of her, and that's what brings her happiness. I think a woman doing that is manipulative, and that's why I use the word demonic. So not about you, Sean, and how you feel, about the woman in that scenario who would center a man giving her money to bring her happiness.
So I said additional sense of happiness, which means already happy before. In addition to that, this man could bring her happiness, right? So as I can tell that you're intelligent, let me say it like this because it's a lot of people who don't understand. I appreciate you, first of all, for as a woman saying that you think that's manipulative. A lot of women wouldn't even say that. A lot of women would say, oh, use that ninja for his money. So I do appreciate that. And I don't hear that often. However, what if it's the conversation that she had with him, right? To give him the opportunity to say yes or no, and he goes along with it anyway. Ain't no manipulation. This is the proverbial contract. This is the deal, and he goes along with it. He's like, okay, this is cool with me as long as you do this. You know, I think that that's perfectly healthy. That's perfectly fine because both boundaries have been created and both parties get what they want that could bring that additional source of happiness.
All right, Vigilante, you there?
Big dog, what's poppin'?
What's going on, brother? I have seen you in the comment section for several streams, so it's good to finally get you on the panel. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
Nah, it's good to be here. Was the scenario that y'all was just talking about the overall synopsis of what we speaking towards?
Well, yeah, to some degree, but it's an angle that they went to, but this could be taken in many different angles. So what I'll do is, I think you already know the rules here because you've been a listener. But yeah, do relationships bring happiness or reveal what's already within? Go ahead, Vigilante.
Oh, I'm definitely more on the side of reveal what's already within. Had a conversation on another panel about the fact that somebody was going over relationship statistics, and I said that the statistics are always going to be down because the easiest thing for people to do is not work on themselves. If you don't work on yourself as an individual, when you get with somebody else, you're going to repel any positive energy that they give you, because that's going to put you in a position to have to turn a mirror to yourself. And if you then you're going to get with somebody that doesn't put that to you, and then you're going to do something, settling, proximity settling, or status settling, etc. And then you're going to be in a less than happy situation. It's going to be good at first because that pressure is going to be taken off of you to improve. But as life and the conditions that you guys live in and the structure that you guys have, the foundation that the leader has set for the household, when you see that it's not increasing, then that's when it's going to set in. I'm not happy. I don't like this. I deserve better, etc., etc. And that could be from either side of it. So no, I don't think that relationships breed happiness. I think that relationships breed joy of having the dynamic. As human beings, we're biologically hardwired to desire each other. So I think that joy is the construct of the positive coming to the positive union that you guys have together. But no, relationships cannot make you happy. You have to be a happy individual, and you have to bring your happiness into the relationship.
Some would argue that happiness is a feeling. You can't be happy all the time. You use joy. Joy's a good word. Because joy could be a moment. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a good word to use. When times are good, and also you said something about when us the desiring to be with someone and stuff like that. It's kind of in a natural way. Yes, in the right relationship, absolutely. There could be joyful times. As far as bringing happiness overall, obviously happiness needs to be even without that person. So it's not so much the relationship is not the relationship is not the source of the happiness. If there's happiness, is happiness, but I get it in terms of the relationship not being the source of it. You know what I'm saying? Beyonda, you had anything to respond to that? Because you came off mute.
No, I never muted myself.
Okay.
I'm in a quiet area, so yeah.
Okay. Let me get Zacchaeus, because this is Zacchaeus' topic. Zacchaeus, what up, brother?
Hey, what's good, man? How's everything, man? So far, so good.
Good, man. Good topic. Good topic idea you sent me last night, man.
Oh, and welcome. Oh, really appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah, man. You do relationships bring happiness or reveal what's already within? Go ahead, Zacchaeus.
Happiness gotta start from within. Because you see, if you're broken, if you're hurt and you're broken, you need somebody to make you happy. You already lost. You have to be happy within. You gotta be able to enjoy being by yourself and being happy by yourself. And then a person should just be a complement or an add-on when you join somebody in a relationship. So you just would be a complement or an add-on. If you're unhappy and you want to get into a relationship, you're gonna be that you waiting for that person to fulfill you. That's a big job for that person to fulfill you. That's a big job for that person to make you happy. And a person shouldn't make you happy. You should be satisfied and happy within and have that joy within.
Yeah, man.
A person can't be without. They got to be with somebody to make them happy.
Yeah.
And you cannot be with somebody cannot fulfill your happiness. You got to be happy already.
Well, Zacchaeus, before so earlier in the show I talked about how the revealing what's already within, right? So if you're somebody who is insecure, jealous, that will come out in a relationship, even if you don't think you're that.
Oh,
that
for
will
sure.
show its head. Go ahead. Speak more about that.
For sure. I mean, if you If you're an unhappy person, you're a person that's insecure and always thinking somebody is doing something to you and so forth and so forth, man, you're gonna bring misery to that person. Now, if the person already have a peaceful life without you, then you're gonna bring misery to them. It's like that's really, really, really gonna put a damper in the relationship. You're not gonna be enjoying the relationship. The purpose of being in a relationship is for the person to you're a unit. The person to compliment you, to enjoy that person's company, and to compliment you. Now, if you coming in with if you're a miserable person, and you're always thinking somebody's doing something to you, and then you trying to bring somebody into your life, how you think that person is gonna receive it? They're gonna be miserable with you. They're gonna be like, "Oh no, I didn't bargain for this. I didn't think. Wait a minute. Why are you checking my phone? Why are you checking my phone to see if I'm cheating on you? Wait a minute. Why are you calling me 7 times a day? No, you're bringing misery to that person. You don't want to do that. So yeah, man, I'm a land there. Yeah.
Yeah. Jess, anything?
I don't know why Sean dropped. I thought we was having a kumbaya moment.
Well, you know, he may have had he may be working.
No, I'm just kidding. I feel like this energy is great. This the pruning was needed, but what I was saying,
Jess, don't come up here looking for trouble, all right? I can find you, all right?
trouble be finding me clearly. Good. I'm like, is it me? But it must be. It must be. I know my opinions are very countercultural, but I do want to say that before Vigilante went away, I kind of think like the joy is the thing you carry with you, which is why sometimes I feel like people are persuaded by this Disney romance of like feeling happy. Because I do think happiness is stuff that you pick up along the way, like it's situational, like what you said, Fifth. And I think that that's why I keep calling it manipulative, because if you're not already, I think, full of joy, then you're looking for the situational happiness in other things. Like I'm getting a man who makes 6 figures because I don't have any internal joy, so I'm looking for this external happiness. Or I need a woman that look like this, right? Because I'm looking for this external happiness instead of focusing on this internal joy that I have.
Well, just let's be a little more practical and speak in layman's terms for a moment, okay? I know your intellect, but at the end of the day, when you get in a relationship, you're gonna speak plain English to your man, right? So let's do this scenario, right? A reciprocal relationship where two people are just liking each other, loving on each other, right? The good things. I mean, I don't know if you've had a relationship where you've experienced a man who was affectionate, who loved doing things for you, acts of service, any other cliche love languages that we talk about. I mean, is that something that you can say that you've experienced in your relationship past? Not to
Yeah.
over personalize it, but you can answer that.
Yeah.
Okay. So when a man did something nice for you, did you smile?
Mm-hmm.
How did that make you feel? Did you feel good?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you smile?
Mm-hmm.
How did that make you feel? Did you feel good?
Yeah. Yeah. Thinking. I'm just thinking.
Deanna, did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard it.
I'm just thinking. Dang, a girl can't have a thought no more.
No, you can have a thought, but anyway, holding hands. You like holding hands with your man?
No, I don't. I will, but I don't. Like I would like if someone said, "Hey, here's a list of things that you," I will, but I don't. Like I would like if someone said, "Hey, here's a list of things that you would like to do with them." I like hugs.
Okay.
Yeah, no, there are women out there like that. Fifth. That's more common than you think. Not wanting to hold hands.
No,
It's more common than you think.
I'm aware of that. I was with an affectionalist girlfriend once upon a time of my life, and that
I'm
didn't
not affectionless.
that didn't last long. You know, um, I'm not saying you just. I'm just actually kind of speaking to Beyonce's point about not being surprised about a woman who doesn't like hold hand, and what that contributed is to and I mean it's not all situations, but what that contributed is I ended up really discovering that she was affectionless, you know, but she definitely gave more affection to her dog. Tell you
That's
that
crazy.
much.
That's crazy.
Well, you
I
know,
will hold a
that's
hand, but am
that
I the one reaching out for the hand? No.
that's starting to become more common than we think. The women who are being more loving to their pets than their men.
The pets don't talk back.
There it is. The pets don't talk back, but they do PP and Dookie, and you got to clean that up. So
But that was wrong. She shouldn't have did that. That was crazy.
yeah. Well, you know that relationship didn't last long.
Yeah, love
Among,
her.
amongst other things that that weren't good in that. So it is what it is. I don't talk about relationships. Talk about. So I have no problem talking about that. I won't name her name. I'll still be mature about it. But you know, the bait and switch I definitely experienced. But anyway, um, okay. So let me go more into it. So when your man gave you an affirmation, he said you were beautiful. He said you were pretty. He liked the way your hair looked. The way the way you styled your hair, the way you probably wore a certain lipstick or whatever he liked or whatever. He liked the way you smelled. There could be a fragrance or whatever you had on. He complimented that. You could have got your whatever. He liked the way you smelled. There could be a fragrance or whatever you had on. He complimented that. You could have got your and he commented that. How did that make you feel? What kind of feeling did you get from that? Did you feel good that your man was affirming? Th- was there anything there, or yeah, no?
No, that made me feel good.
That I think he was going to more like the practical things that men and women may appreciate in a relationship. I don't think he was going to the point of saying that. I don't think he was going that extreme with the happiness part, but he's not here to defend himself, and he might have been. I don't know, but I was trying to take apart what he was saying.
You trying to mansplain it?
Well, not so much trying to mansplain it. That's a feminist response. I was just trying to layman's term explain it, just like I would layman's term explain it for you. You know what I'm saying?
But that stuff didn't make me happy. So even though it made me feel good in the moment, it didn't make me happy. I wouldn't say that.
Was there any joy?
No,
Was
I
it a
wouldn't say that.
joyful moment? Was it a joy moment?
Oh no, I wouldn't call it joy because I don't think anybody can give you joy.
Okay.
I think it was just nice. He was just doing a nice thing, and clearly it wasn't good enough because I ain't with him. So to me, it's bare minimum. You complimenting me is the least you could do.
Dang.
Yeah, I would say joy is more of a response to your situation. Are you going to choose to be down in the dumps, or are you going to be more uplifting? It's more of a response, and it is like a conditional thing.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
So if you're broke, but then you're still going out there and you're smiling and you're still spreading the good news about the Lord, that's joy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I remember those days.
Yeah, but if you're if you're acting broke and your people see it in your eyes and whatnot, you're just you're feeling sorry for yourself and you're just sad about your situation, which you can be sad. I mean, no one says you can't be sad, but it's more of a it's more of a reaction to your situation. That's it. Whereas happiness is more of like a, oh, I got this reward for doing this. Now I'm happy.
Yeah, that's cool. Let me talk to you, Beyonda. When your woman does something nice for you, because you're engaged, so I'm sure
Yeah.
there's a reason, right? When your woman does something nice for you, man, how do you feel? Man, you feel good?
Very appreciative.
Very
Yes.
appreciative. See, I'm glad you used the word appreciative. That's what I was hoping to be brought up today. You know, there's an appreciation factor that if your lady has for you, that there's gonna be a sense of peace coming from that. I don't know. Am I on or off with that one? What do you think, Beyond?
No, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not saying peace is happiness, but let me tell you something. Having peace makes me happy.
Mm. Yeah, they correlate. I'll tell you that. They
Mm-hmm.
correlate.
And I think when the brother was talking about a man coming into a woman's life and just lessening the load of life for her, I know he talked about working, but just lessening the load of life itself. That so many things we do as individuals by ourselves because it's just us. And when he said lightening the load, I think it does bring a sense of peace. You know what I'm saying? It does bring a sense of peace to know that you're with someone who has your best interests at heart and can watch your blind spots.
Yeah.
But I think
I kind
men,
of.
we interpret peace differently from women.
Yeah, that's true. I kind of want more of an explanation to Jess's answer in regards to like the happiness thing, like being demonic or whatever.
Yeah.
Not that I don't disagree, but I'm trying to like understand like the nooks and crannies of what she said.
So
And
just
I
yeah.
understood the premise of it, and I kind of get it. I thought it was. I didn't like. I was more in the middle about it. Like I agree, but also like it's kind of a reach to like say that people who pursue happiness, or I don't remember the exact words she said, so I'm not gonna like put words in her mouth, but something along the lines of it being like demonic and manipulative, I
Well,
guess.
so Jess, he's basically just asking you to unpack it. Because demonic most often is used as a buzzword, but it's never unpacked because I mean demonic could be an actual an actual demon or just the behavior being demonic, but then he just wants you to unpack it, what you actually mean. Go ahead, Jess, you have the floor.
Yeah, when I say demonic, I mean anything that is anti-Christ-like. And so the example God gave us, Jesus gave us specifically, was that the best of us, the leaders, the people who are deemed like the highest esteem are the people who are generous. They are the servers. They're not looking for what they can get. They're looking for what they can give. And so when a person goes around and they're trying to attach themselves to a man or to other people so they can get happiness from them, so you can make me feel better, so you can validate my worth, so you can give me money so I'm less stressed at my job, all of that is I-centered. It's very demonic because it puts the onus on you and what I'm getting from this relationship versus what can I contribute to your life? What can I contribute to our union? And to me, the POV of that is demonic and manipulative.
If it's one-sided, it's manipulative, but if they're both helping each other, where do you stand with that?
I don't think there is a double-sided to it because the person is already centering themselves. There is no other side, right? Like I'm focused on what I'm getting. So the second you stop being feminine enough, I'm going to stop leading. The second you stop putting out, I'm going to stop providing for you. Like it's that kind of language that we hear on TikTok all the time. It centers how this woman or this man, whatever they do, affects how you're going to how you're going to move. And it's because you are allowing them, you are centering yourself instead of centering what can you give to the situation. So that's what I'm saying. The person in that scenario never looks at the other side about this other person. It's always I centered. Me. What am I getting? How are you making me happy?
So you answered the question in terms of one-sided. Once again, I was just saying that when it's reciprocal, when it's reciprocal, meaning give and receive, right? Where's your stance there?
If it's I have the POV of giving to this person, then yes. When it's reciprocal in how much can I outlove you, how much can I give to you, of course. If it's reciprocal in what can I get and what can I get, then no. But yes, of course, in that scenario where you're trying to outdo each other and it's reciprocal in the generosity. But there's also reciprocation in pettiness. There's reciprocation in keeping score. So that's when I heard you say reciprocal, I don't automatically think the good thing of generosity, because you can be reciprocal in a lot of other cases. So I do mean reciprocal in generosity is the best way to go.
Well,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
if it's transactional, I wouldn't say reciprocal. You're speaking to that. Transactional is, well, let me see what I could get because that's what they did. So I'm gonna keep doing the transaction thing. I wouldn't say if it's transactional, I never use the word reciprocal. Go ahead, Beyonda.
Yeah, I was gonna say that when we're talking about giving, it really depends on the heart posture of when they're giving. Like not everyone that gives is considered a generous person, because you have to look at the reason why they're doing it, and also, there is a thing of doing the right thing for the wrong reason. So it's really important to like analyze whether or not they're giving for the right reason, and not like if you're giving and not like wanting anything in return, that's different. But like a lot of people give and they're considered generous, but also like we don't know why they're doing it. Intentions, like Raina said, intentions matter the most, and so it's really about the heart posture of when you're giving it or not, I guess.
And can I just say to what you're saying, Beyonder? Well, I guess what everybody's saying. There's this Bible verse. I do not know where it is, but it says, "What good is it to give to those who can give back to you? What good is it to love those who can love you back?" That's the same thing that sinners do. And I really took that to heart, because it is easy to give to somebody who's giving to you. I think I I think when we try to say I want this reciprocal relationship, I do feel like people say that in an I-centered way. When you do right by me, I'll do right by you. And I think that's the wrong POV to have. I'm going to
That's a
do
fair
right
point.
by you, whether you do it or not. I'm going to love you and I'm going to sacrifice for you and I'm going to treat you like you should be treated, whether you're good to me or not. And to me, that's like why reciprocation, I can't answer it in such a yes or no thing, because like what you said, Beyonder, you could be generous for the wrong reasons, but also you could be reciprocal with somebody who's the same kind of level of manipulative and demonic that you are. I mean, look at Trump. He giving money to the people who already got money. Like what the world, Like
Yeah,
reciprocation
That's
can be so broad.
a
Jess,
fair point, Chris. That's a fair
you
point.
no, well, she's leaving one part out. Jess, you just mentioned a man. Mr. T is extremely conditional. I said Mr. T for the algorithm.
Okay.
I'm talking about 47. So 47 is extremely conditional. In his entire history, it's I'm only going to scratch your back if you scratch mine.
But
He's
I'll also
probably
say to that though,
yeah.
like that is a. I get your example, Jess, and I agree with you. You're not wrong. But also, like, if you're the president of the United States, you kind of have to have that mindset. You can't just be like giving to people, like other people, like in the world, and they not do anything for you. Because at the end of the day, you are looking out for the entire country.
now you know he's not looking out for the entire country now,
No,
Bianca.
no, no, no. I'm just saying, like, in general. Like, if you're the president of the United States, you have to have that mindset of, okay, I can't help them out if they're not helping me out, which is
Why
the
do
country.
you have to have that though?
Because that's just how the world is built.
But are you
And
required to do that?
well, no, like, the country isn't going to benefit from us being over generous and we get nothing from anyone else.
Okay, but what about inside of the country though?
Oh, we can talk about that too. I'm just saying, like, this, like, being a world leader in general, you have to have, like, a mindset of, like, if I'm not getting anything from ABC, I just,
Did our thing break up?
at least to the whole president thing. That's what I'll say. But everything else you said, I agree with.
Okay.
We have somebody new in the panel. T, are you there?
Hey y'all, hey. How y'all doing today?
Hello,
Good.
T.
Good. How you doing? I like to just explain the rules to anybody who's new to my panel. Just a formality. Just no cursing, no foul language, and respect each other. And then I'm just gonna read the prompt, and then you can respond before you get into the conversation with everybody else. Okay? And that is, do relationships bring happiness or reveal what's already within? You go ahead, T.
I love the no foul language. You are on to something there. Uh, I'm
Thank you.
stuffing my face as we eat, but so two things can be true at once. Those are both internal and external sources, right? So the internal would be yourself, and external would be what you're getting outside of yourself. So sure, both of them can exist. But if you're talking about sustainability, then that source is within, right? That you have to have, you just have to have all of that within you. Because if you're miserable inside and you're looking for an external source to satisfy that, typically that's temporary, or there can become some unhealthy dependencies on other people or other things. So if this is more so for sustainability, then it should be internal. But to the question, does it exist? It exists both internally and externally. I land there.
Yeah, I could. Yeah. Does anybody else have anything to respond to T? Well, y'all, whether you agree or I think y'all more so agree. Anyone? Hey T, if you don't mind, just kind of reiterating what you said, just for the sake of the live. Go ahead, T.
Now, Jess.
Oh, y'all must know each other.
I'm sorry. Sorry. Go ahead.
Y'all know each other.
We've definitely been on panels and stuff together before. Jess
Oh,
is real cool.
okay.
Jess is
Okay.
cool. Jess is super cool.
Yeah, I rock with Jess.
Yeah. A logical woman. Y'all love that, right?
T. I'm gonna say this about Jess, right? I rock with Jess overall, but Jess sometimes is, what do you call, she could be provocative at times with her takes, but I make sure I keep her around because I do understand the entertainment portion of the show. But on a personal level, I rock with Jess. If I met Jess in real life, we'd be cool, So, but no, but yeah, go ahead, T.
There's conditions, Jess. There's always conditions.
Right.
No,
I'm on a short leash.
No, the gist of what I said was that this is talking about internal and external happiness, right? The internal happiness is what we have within, and external is what we seek outside of ourselves. So sure, both of them can exist, that you can have happiness through either. But for sustainability, then it really needs to be within. So people if you're miserable on the inside and you're looking for other things to satisfy that or to make you happy, then there's going to be a constant battle and a constant search. They can end up in dependencies on people, unhealthy situations, whether it be drugs, alcohol, unhealthy relationships, etc. So, yeah, both exist, but I believe for sustainability that it should be internal. That's it.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you think a woman pursuing a man for his financial stability is bringing happiness? Like her trying to bring happiness to herself?
So both, right? So finances, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? So physiological needs. I don't know this woman's situation, but let's say that it is bare minimal, that most of these women are poor, right? In a lot of these situations, I'm just picturing a certain type of woman. So this isn't all women who want this, but I'm picturing a certain type of woman that I've seen on TikTok lives who they really don't have any qualifications or skills, and they are dependent strictly on a man for their survival. So even when it comes to meals and bills and et cetera, like they are really out here struggling, trying to get somebody to help them survive. So when it comes to biological needs, me eating, me having shelter, living, then it could be more survival. But if it is that a woman just wants these things because this is something that she likes, happiness in that sense, sure, that could bring her happiness. That could bring her happiness, right?
You think it's bad for her to pursue a man who is financially stable for happiness? Like for it to give her happiness?
No. Most people in life pursue things to be happy, right? They're not pursuing things to be miserable. So
You mean like a career?
things like just about everything that
Well, if you have a passion in life, just to kind of help this, right? If you have a passion in life that you're chasing, can that also fall in that category? In terms of pursuing.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like if a lot of motive is for there to be some type of positive response. So let's just say a happy response. So a lot of motive behind what we do when we seek thrills, when we have hobbies, when we have things a lot of that ties to us being pleased with it. So sure. I don't know. Is there more context that I'm missing? Was there a scenario y'all talked about, Jess?
So I could kind of say this. So people and things are two different things, right? We must always remember that people are people, and things are things. So we should never put them in the same box, right? So if you're pursuing a career, there's going to be some at least a moment of joy or peace to that, right? If you're seeking a person, we have to understand that this is a person. They're human. They're flawed. So they're going to disappoint you. I don't mean hurt you, but I mean there's going to be something that they're going to do that may disappoint you. But if you want to buy a brand new car, in that moment you're going to be happy because you had your eyes on a car. Oh, that's a car. A car is only going to do what it's designed to do, right? It's a machine. A person is a person. They have their own autonomy, and they're not always going to do what you think they're going to do. So I was just saying, as long as we know that we're distinguishing between the two and not, mixing those up,
Yeah.
that kind of helps with the context a little bit, right?
I do get what you're saying, and I do know the difference between like person and things.
Absolutely, you
Ultimately,
do. Yeah.
what I'm thinking of is the end game. The end game is happiness. So people may not have the same desire. Some people actually seek happiness in things where they don't seek them in a person. So I'm not focusing on fill in the blank what that thing is. What I'm saying is that a lot of human beings desire happiness, period. So whatever that fill in the blank is for them, because happiness to one person could be this football game. Like, oh my God, I gotta win, I gotta win. Where another person couldn't care, less about it. And then happiness to another person could be seeking fulfillment in a person. The gist of it is that term is still the same. It's happiness. So my focus is not what it is that's making them happy, but that each of them each of them are seeking the same thing, which is happiness. So that was more so what it was. Of course, we know with whatever the fill in the blank is, if it is a person or a thing that both of them you should have expectations from it. So if it's a car, your car may not last but for so long. If you get a nail in your tire, you can expect X, Y, you have to put oil in it. There's maintenance. So there isn't like a blindness that just because you have achieved the thing that you won't be disappointed or you can't be, you know what I mean? Like, I guess I'll just say disappointed by it. But similarly with the person, sure, they're a human being, they could hurt you, but it doesn't stop the people from seeking happiness. They still seek to happiness.
Jess, you have a response, and then I'm gonna get to Dr. Love. Go ahead, Jess.
Just a thought that came to my mind, not necessarily about specific what T said, but it just it enticed me, I guess. The thought that came to my mind was how people will say, this relationship brought me happiness. And I believe that is manipulative, because it just reminds me of like that pick me culture that I keep bringing up all the time, right? But it's very pervasive, and that is a thing that women are told, that this marriage will bring me happiness. This marriage will give me purpose. And the same way that a lot of times men find that their jobs are idols, their careers are idols, I feel like on the flip end, women can make marriage and men an idol, because they are using that thing to fill in this gap that I do believe only God can fill.
All right, hold it right there. Dr. Love, you there?
I'm here. I
All
am.
right. All right, Dr. Love. I want to make an announcement real quick for people who are listening. Dr. Love has inspired a topic for Thursday's live, and she will be co-hosting with me on that. So sharing the same responsibilities that I have. And when I mean co-host, I don't mean the actual program co-host. I mean actually being another host with me in terms of like the panel. Okay. What a real co-host is, in terms of, TV show and production, talking, you know what I'm saying? For those who understand broadcasting. So shout outs to Dr. Love for that topic. That would be Thursday. All right. So Dr. Love, the topic is, do relationships bring happiness or reveal what's already within? You have the floor.
I think happiness is quite subjective to each individual, in my opinion. For me, happiness is a momentarily thing, and that's how I see it. And I think happiness, if you are a person who, inspires to be happy in life, then you can be disappointed if you think that's a forever feeling, because happiness doesn't last. It's like, I get really happy when I eat ice cream. I mean, I'm like ecstatic, but as soon as I've digested it, that feeling goes, because it was a momentarily thing. When my partner holds me and, puts me in his arms, I feel really happy and content. But that feeling isn't going to last forever, because when I'm washing the dishes, I'm back to, damn, I've got chores to do. So happiness is a momentarily thing. So do relationships make us happy? Well, I should very well hope so. But again, it's a momentarily thing. I think what happiness brings for me is contentment. And I can find that in many things. Many things, when I see the sunrise, when I see the sunset, when I see nice weather, when I see the rain. So for me, happiness can be endless, but I do realize it's a momentarily thing. So even in relationships, it's a momentarily thing. Does it reveal what's within? Well, I'm a little bit, does it reveal what's within? Well, I think if you are someone with a mindset like I have, which is I find happiness in many things, so I'll probably find it in my relationship too. If you're a pessimistic kind of person and you have a not a growth mindset, then you may look at it very differently. You may see sadness. You may not feel contentment. So that might then give you a different feeling. And if you go into a relationship with that kind of mindset, then you might project that into the relationship. So I think it is an individual thing as well, what kind of mindset someone has. And also, what do people interpret the word as happiness, and what are their expectations? Mine are, it doesn't last. It is a momentary thing, and I aim for contentment more than being happy forever. And when I do get happy, it makes me feel good. And I would imagine if I was in a relationship, I want to feel good.
All right. Pleasure. What's going on, brother? Good
Good
brother.
afternoon, brother. How you feeling today?
I'm good, man. I'm good. So I have an interesting topic here, man. Hopefully I'm providing the right context. So the question, do relationships bring happiness or reveal what's already within? When I mean by within, I mean like if you're someone who may have some insecure, you have some insecurities, you're jealous, even if you don't think you are, that will somehow show its head in a relationship. So that also helps with the context. But go ahead, brother.
I really love what Dr. Love had to say about the subject. Happiness and peace is an inside job, and it's your own personal responsibility. And as she mentioned, they are fleeting. Nobody's happy all the time. Nobody's sad all the time. I hope you're not depressed and miserable all the time. And whatever your emotions and feelings are, they are your responsibility. They can be affected and compounded by the people you choose to share your life with. So in that sense, when you're happy with somebody who's happy and you guys are in a relationship together, you're going to be happy together. When you're happy with somebody who's unhappy, one of you should step up and say, what can I do to make this person happier? Or how can I change their mood or affect their mood? Or if the negative person's energy is so overwhelming, they're going to bring you down and you're both going to be miserable for a little while. But at the end of the day, if you are happy within yourself, if you have the capacity to provide yourself with happiness and peace, a relationship should only multiply that. It should only add to that. It should only uplift that energy. That does lead to the second one. Does it reveal what's in? Yeah, if you're in a relationship with somebody and they're always miserable, you're going to see that. If they have jealousies, if they have insecurities, if they have problematic tendencies, those things are always going to be revealed in a relationship over time with proximity. So both two things 100% can be true. A relationship can bring you happiness so long as the two people in the relationship are genuinely happy people. Just like a relationship can bring misery if the two people in the relationship are miserable people. And when you're in that relationship, who you are dealing with is 100% going to be revealed over time.
Hey, it's open panel. I got to do something real quick. Beyond, are you there? Beyond.
Yes, I'm
Yo,
here.
yeah, can you hold it down for me, man? I got to mute it real quick. I could, it's open panel, yo.
Yes, sir, I got you.
I have a question, and I'll toss this to the panel if you all want to chime in. I've been on panels where I've heard a certain genre of man that says, in marriage, that's where the failing comes in, because no one is married for happiness. That's how you fail. Do you all have any insight on that?
Actually, yeah. Here's the thing. Because we understand that emotions fluctuate, the fact that you're unhappy currently today in your relationship doesn't mean that you need to throw away the relationship. It means that you need to make the conscious decision to try to get back to being happy in the relationship. And that's not to say that you should be miserable with somebody 24/7, But at the same time, at some point, if you guys made it to a year, 2 year, 3 years, there was happiness there. There was joy. There was excitement when you spent time together. The first question you should ask is, how do I get back to that? Failing that, my responsibility to this marriage and this relationship does not change based off of my moods. I'm still your husband, I'm still your wife, and I still have to do right by you because I married you, because I decided to share my life with you. So I think what men are talking about when they mention this is a lot of women are like, I'm unhappy in this relationship, so I left. Well, did you make any effort to get back to being happy before you left? Did you make any attempt to regulate your own emotional state, or did you put it all on this person to make you happy before you left? Did you try anything and everything before you left? Marriage counseling, talking to a pastor if you're of faith. What attempts did you make to salvage this relationship before you left? Or are you just basing it on, well, I'm unhappy? Because like I said before, that's your responsibility. Being happy, that's on you. I can help, I can harm, but at the end of the day, being happy is something that you have to take responsibility for. And if you're going to sacrifice this whole relationship because you're unhappy without making any attempts to be happy, then you're not doing your responsibility as a spouse.
I'll piggyback on the second part. I think Dr. Love was going to say something and Jess, but I'll chime back in on the part of it's your responsibility to be happy, particularly when you are in a marriage or a relationship. But
I think,
go ahead, Dr. Love.
I think sometimes, in my experience, when people get married, their mindset changes because it's almost like, you've courted or you've dated for so long and, all the excitement was there. And half of it was that non-committal, we're not married, we're not stuck together. And you often hear people that will say, once you're married, it's all downhill from there. They have a very negative connotation attached almost, not everyone, some. And I think that mindset of this is it now, we're together. And whilst that should be a really embracing thought, like you found your person, I think some people's mindset is, okay, now I have no freedom. Now it's a role, it's a job. And I think the stories or the rackets that they play in their mind influence their behavior and actions, which then don't take them towards a content relationship. The whole thing with the happy marriage, I don't know. I have because I see happiness as a momentarily thing. When we attach that to the word marriage, I see marriage as a forever thing. So I'm having trouble putting happy marriage. I think, if we strive for a relationship with good communication, good comprehension, both on the same goals of trying to make it happen, I think we get a very, very different outcome. But I think when people get into marriage, some people have this mindset that this is it. There's no chase left in it. Don't have to make an effort. Don't really have to work at it. I got what I needed. We're together. And I think that stops some people from making that extra effort. And I'm a firm believer of relationships do need work. They do need work. Relationships are not easy. They are two individuals who are two different human beings with different ways of being. And you two have to learn how to cohabit together with your flaws, with your darkness, with your light. And that's not an easy task, So I think you have to work at it. You have to figure each other out best you can and support each other. And this is where I think people give up. So the whole notion of a happy marriage, I'm still a little bit with that word, if that makes sense.
I guess I see more so of what they're saying now because in the sense of people getting married and then you see like people who are like immediately unhappy, you see like the bad more than the good. So in just layman's terms to say, when I get married, I want to have a happy marriage. There were men who were shunning that, like, no, nobody gets married for that. But and hearing both of you, I understand in the context that you put it in, that clearly it's not for every moment to be of happiness, that every single last thing that I do is of happiness. There's going to be the work in the marriage, but I don't know, I guess it just kind of negates the thought of somebody wanting to be married and be happy. I don't know.
Really quick, we have someone new, I think. Boss man, are you there?
Hey, what's up, y'all?
Hey, what's going on? A couple of rules in the panel. No cursing, no foul language. And whenever you're ready, you can respond to the question, and then we can resume the panel.
Okay, cool. For me, for the prompt, I don't think it reveal. It kind of reveals within. Because relationships is supposed to help you build a better version of you. A lot of people don't understand. There's no right or wrong way to have a relationship, and I think the world, while we're failing today, people think there's a standard, there's a way, there's a book, there's a law. There's no rules to this, and I think that's the problem. I think people are playing the game wrong. When you meet somebody, you guys build and create your own, let's say, household structures. You don't live in your household that you pay bills at and live by society structures. I think that's backwards. So in other words, women can't tell a man what a man is. Men can't tell women what a woman should be doing. That's just impossible. You would never find your love mate by reminding them, oh, this is what it's supposed to look like. No, y'all supposed to create that within yourself. Also, relationships show your bad habits. A lot of people don't realize that. When you're dating someone, it shows the reason why you guys have, I guess, arguments or situations where it go left is because you have a habit of breaking a boundary that person doesn't want to be crossed. So you have a bad habit. And some people don't know how to articulate that in a way to become better. They more look at it in the sense of you're being controlling. I don't know, whatever it may be, but I truly believe it's all about creating your own household structure. There's no right or wrong way to do it. Don't do what your dad did, your mom did, grandma did. You can take from it, take advice just like every life, but when you meet somebody, y'all two supposed to come together and create your own world. You know what I'm saying? It's called, you supposed to unalive half of you, they unalive half of them, so y'all can become a better one. You know, and then and for the people that are speaking on happiness, I think when people say a happy marriage, I think the word they might want to use is a healthy marriage. You know what I mean? I think a healthy marriage can be considered a happy up and down. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna land right there.
I had a question for T and the rest of the ladies, piggybacking off of the conversation about women wanting a happy marriage. Is it fair to say, based off of your experiences with these conversations, that a lot of women don't understand the work and the duty that goes into maintaining a healthy relationship, specifically a marriage? Or do you feel like a lot of them kind of have a Cinderella fallacy where they feel like, now that I'm married, I'm just going to spend my days having tea parties and horseback riding through the countryside?
No, they take shots and they go to brunch. They don't do. Go ahead, Jack.
Yeah, I would not say that women have this idea that it'll be horseback riding and frolicking through the fields. I wouldn't say it's that delusional. What I would say is that what women are taught is that marriage will solve things for them. So he will be more committed if I just get married. He'll be more attracted if I just get married. He'll come home if I just get married. So I do think that women go into marriage believing that this means he's fully been committed to me now, and this stuff that I was complaining about or maybe didn't complain about but had a problem with will change inside of the marriage. So then she realizes that marriage doesn't fix it. And that's why, in part, women are leaving more often than not. And but I do think the purity culture tells women that men will be a solution to them, or marriage will be a solution to the problem that they're having with men, and that's rarely the case.
Do you think that ideology is perpetuated more by men or women?
Men, absolutely. It's men who created that, and it's women who echo it. But it was always created by men.
I think,
Interesting.
yeah, I think my perspective might be slightly different because I come from an Asian culture and we're kind of raised. This is going to sound really peculiar, but I believe it to be true. We're raised to grow up and be married. And we are temporarily in our parents' home till we're of an age to get married. And our teaching is from a very young age, how to cook, how to serve a man, and to make him happy. And in return, he will protect us and he will provide for us and he will save us from all the demons out there that apparently exist. And we read Mills and Booms and we grow up on Bollywood movies of romance and fairy tales. So our view is really kind of ingrained from quite a young age that, education, things like that aren't important, especially for the women, which is very sad. But unfortunately, this is what our parents believe. Their role is to make us into young ladies who can then be married and be respectful and raise children and pray and serve our husbands. That's the mindset that a lot of us Asian women are raised with. Does
I
that answer
think
your question, Pleasure?
it will make it very simpler if that was the structure in America. Like, I think it would be very easy for people to follow that structure and have a successful marriage or relationship. But I think we came in a time where, some women want traditional men, but it's take me as I am. And there's some men that want a traditional woman, but they slack in the areas of providing, whatever it may be. That's why I say I think in 2026 for the Western world, you got to communicate. You got to sit your partner down at the table and literally communicate and create your own structures. Do you want me to wash dishes sometimes? Do I need help taking out the trash sometimes? Whatever it may be, even gender roles. I think that need to all be discussed between each other. I think the assuming this is what a man is, this is what a woman is, and then when you get with that person, then it's not adding up. I think that's the problem. People
I
don't want
don't
to sit down and say,
understand.
I
yeah,
think
go
this
ahead.
is boss man. This is how we have very, very defined roles in my culture, right? A man is a man. He provides and he protects.
Right.
His responsibility isn't even to it's there to raise the family. And when you look at like my culture and you look at the women and the men, a lot of us used to have arranged marriages. And those men and women, our fathers, our mothers, stayed together till death did them part, right? Now, when you look at society of the younger version of us, they still have marriage as an end goal. In my time, if you went over 21, you were left on the shelf. You were too old. Your parents hadn't done a good enough job
But my
of
question,
getting
my
you
question is
married
this,
when
Dr.
you're
Love.
18.
What do you do let's say, for example, in America, because this is what I'm aiming at. The woman is the breadwinner. The woman has the purpose. The woman, she is now, I guess, the traditional man in a sense, but she likes this guy who makes less. You see what I'm saying? So I love your culture, and I wish that was the way it was today in America. But
Why do
unfortunately, in
you wish that,
2026,
boss man?
I wish that in the sense of it'll be more, I think people will be on a straight line of what they want, not necessarily as far as gender and power, not that as far as more successful relationships. That's why I would want it. But what I'm saying today, world, I salute women that has a purpose, that wants to be the breadwinner. Think about it. You was in high school, college, you probably wasn't even dating for real. Now you got to throw all that away, all that hard work away just because you said yes to a ring. You see what I'm saying? I
Well,
love the way that
this
America is
it's a
going.
few. Okay,
Yeah,
Boss
go ahead. I'm
man,
sorry. Go
please
ahead.
don't
it's a few.
equate longevity with success. Those are different things.
I mean,
I,
longevity is almost success.
No, babe,
well,
because there's
not
people who've
necessarily.
been married for 50 years and it's been a trifling 50 years. So just because they unalived married doesn't mean they had a successful marriage.
And I would agree with
I,
that.
I
I
wanted
would
to jump.
agree.
Hold on, if 1 second. I'm sorry because I know it's been like a 20-minute thing. It went from Pleasure's question to Dr. Love talking about her culture, which definitely woke me up. And Boss Man jumped in. I didn't get a chance to answer Pleasure's
yeah, go
question.
ahead.
That's
See my fault.
fine. No. We're just having conversation. I just wanted to say this really quickly because your take is a little confusing to me. When you first came on, your take was, I'm sorry, am I echoing? Hold on.
No, we can hear you.
Dr. Love, I do believe it's you.
Is it me? Let me go on silent.
Oh, okay. No, I just was going to say that your take, Boss Man, is a little confusing to me because when you came on, you talked about there not being roles and that we should actually figure each other out, not let society design who we are. So I thought that was beautiful. And then to hear once she said that this is what the Asian culture is like, and you're like, yeah, like we should do that in America. That was definitely confusing to me, very conflicting. But this is what I'll say. I do believe that people should have the freedom of choice to be whoever they want to be, as long as there's no harm done. So we have we have cultures that we're very familiar with that are can be extreme in a sense that's not harmful. Let's say the Amish. They do things very different. They don't have any exposure or a limited exposure to the outside world, electronics, etc., and that works for them. They should have the freedom of choice. They are not harming anyone to be and do what they want and define their relationships as they want. I do not believe that someone designing and then conditioning me. So they say, this is what I believe the system and structure is, and therefore I'm going to condition you to fall in line because it'll be easier for everyone else. I totally disagree with that. So I just wanted to get your feedback because your takes are conflicting to me. On one hand, you said that there should be the design and not to conform and people
Right.
figure it out. And then the other hand, you're like, this is what we need.
So what I'm clarifying is my true belief, who I am as a person individually. I will meet my person and create every structure that's needed for us to be successful. That's me. What I'm saying is the world is not doing either. In my opinion, this is just an anecdotal experience. It's not me saying no statistics. I don't think the world is nor doing the structure of old traditional, nor the structure of saying we're going to build our own thing. I think in a sense, I want to say chaos. I think in a sense is people don't know what they want. They don't know how to do it, how to obtain it, how to keep it, when to let it go. It's like someone just said, it's no guaranteed success. No one has. I was saying that maybe if we did have structures like before, traditional, maybe that's the only way I can see it working as far as a group, as a whole, as the Western world. Me personally, I love for people to build their own structures over society structures. I honestly, and I don't mean no harm to nobody, I honestly don't think you're a man of a woman if you can't create your own structure in your household over society. If you tell me this is what society's doing and this is right and that is wrong, I don't even like your judgment on your mental anymore. Because I come from a family where there's no right or wrong way to do it. As far as relationship, as far as leadership in the household, I didn't see my dad wash dishes. I didn't see my mom take out trash. You know, my dad told me all the time as a man, when you have kids, your leadership for mom, the kids, it's not going to be the same leader. It's the same structure. But the way he could talk to me, how was your day, son? Oh, my day was blah, blah, blah. This happened, bad. When he talked to my brother, he got to beat it out of him. He got to say, man, well, not beat it out, but he had to ask multiple questions to get to the bad and the good in the day. So his leadership is not the same. That's what I'm trying to say. I think you have to be diverse to have, I guess I'm going to take what Jesse said, longevity relationship, not even probably success. I don't think it's guaranteed success. But structure-wise, like where she come from, I think that would help the Western world again. I don't know what they're doing out there. Everybody mental is just take me as who I am and what can I get out the situation is what I get every now and then.
But boss, we had that structure before. I mean, even with the Pilgrims, the Quakers, it was the structure that I believe Dr. Love is talking about, where women had a defined role and men had a defined role, and people weren't successful. They were married until they unalive, but they weren't successful. And we can tell that because we're not currently there. It wasn't sustainable. And
I'm a push back.
okay.
All right. So your generality is so rigid right now, Jess, and you know better. I know you didn't say all, but I need you to actually substantiate in terms of a pocket of people and the people that actually were happy in their long-standing marriages. I'll give you that opportunity again to respond to that.
So one, there's no way to qualify if people back in 1735 were happy in their marriages because
Right,
they didn't.
you don't have to go to 1735.
But that's what I'm
Just
talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
all right, go ahead.
So I'm saying, like, Bossman is saying we need to get back to that in the Western world. And I'm like, we did have that. I think what we have now with the whole like independent boss chick thing is something that's new in the last 35, 45 years. Like over the course of all of American history and all of human history, we have had what Dr. Love is talking about, which is the rigidity of the roles. And I'm saying specifically for America, the rigidity that we had doesn't work. It didn't work. It wasn't sustainable because we had the feminist movement. If people were so happy, why would we need this movement to address the unhappiness? Why would there be so much literature since 1848 about a problem with no name if women were happy? Why would Frederick Douglass, with his abolition self, why would he take the time to go to New York and go and attend the first feminist convention in the church if there was nothing going on at that time? So again, I can't quantify how many marriages were happy back then, but I know that if Frederick Douglass self thought it was important enough to attend the first feminist convention in 1848, then maybe it wasn't all great. Maybe the stuff that the feminists was talking about back in the day where they felt like second-class citizens actually was true. And so the system that we had wasn't working.
You mentioned Frederick Douglass. I have a question. Which wife at the time did he have when he went to that feminist rally?
I don't know.
Okay, because you know he remarried, right?
I think it worked. It just wasn't right. That's all I'm gonna say. It worked. It wasn't right. The women deserve the rights they have today. I'm not saying when I say go back in time, I don't mean take. I'm gonna tell you the women had the rights y'all had today. I mean back then in the traditional world, it definitely wouldn't work. That's why I say it worked, but it wasn't right. I love that the fact y'all have that women have rights today just as much as men. What I'm saying is the structure, the structure of this is what you're going to do and this is what they're going to do and that's how it works. I think that's easy to put on society versus saying what I would love for everyone to do is create your own. That's like saying everybody on this panel, go get an LLC tomorrow and stop working for the man. F9 to 5s, go get an LLC. Create your own life. That's what I preach. But I know it won't be the right thing for society because in my mind, society can't handle that. That's just me.
How not? That's
Society
exactly
can
what
handle a 9 to
US is.
5.
But that's exactly what US is. That's exactly a part of the First Amendment. Why people from other countries that they love so much come here for the freedoms of that, the freedom of choice, the freedom of religion. That is, so we live it every day in every moment, right? There's people who have the freedom and free will to do what they choose. The structure is the harm, right? That there should be laws in place that if I physically do something to you that causes harm, then that is a violation. Yet, if you're doing what works for you, so if you are Amish and that works for you, yet I decide that I want to be an atheist and I want to raise my family and that works for me, there's no harm in that. Who comes in to say, no, this is wrong, that's wrong, I want you all to follow this one structure?
T, right now, what you're saying, we're living it. That's all I'm saying. Right now, we're living freedom at this moment. If you ask anybody on the planet, how's the dating world? They're going to give you most people probably give you, I'm just assuming, negative answers. We're living it right now, T. That's all I'm saying. What I'm saying is what would guide people maybe in the right way, and I'm not saying make it a law, make a punishment about it. I'm saying the structure of a community or society itself saying, hey, follow these guidelines, that may work. That's all I'm saying. We're living freedom right now. We're living, me and you could create our own household structures right now. Nothing's stopping us. What I'm saying is people are not doing it by choice with the freedom. So maybe their freedom need a little guidance is all I'm saying. That's all I'm trying to say. We're free right now.
I think to Boss Man's point.
Oh, sorry, go on, Pleasure.
I think to Boss Man's point, what he's saying is there's no playbook for health, wealth, success, and longevity when it comes to relationships, where in the past there was, even though it wasn't perfect. In the past, it was very defined gender roles. Women, you stayed in the house under the protection of your father and your parents. Your mother taught you how to be a woman. She taught you how to be a wife. She taught you skills that were going to be beneficial to you, your husband, and your family going forward. Men were taught how to go out, earn an income, how to handle their financial responsibilities, how to build a little bit more wealth and secure more financial opportunities to grow their legacy. Now, and since the advent of feminism, those gender roles have kind of eroded away. And instead of saying women are going to be in the house and men are going to be in the workforce, it's women can do whatever they want, men can do whatever they want. Without those guidelines, without those structures, without that blueprint, what we have today is a society that's chasing its tail, trying to figure out, how do I do it? How do I get it right? I don't want to go back in the past where women weren't allowed to do X, Y, Z, but at the same time, and because of feminism, there is this reluctance to take the next step towards egalitarianism, because those gender roles still present when it comes to traditional dating standards. And this is a conversation we've had before. Even the most stringent feminist still expects a man to be a man when it comes to romance and dating. I'm not going to pursue you. I'm not going to pay for you. I'm not going to do 50-50. I'm not going to propose to you, but we're equal. And that those two things are diametrically opposed. If you are saying that you're capable of doing everything that I can do, then you should be willing to do it. And to your point, the freedoms that we have, the responsibility that goes along with them has been lost. You do have freedom of speech. You do have freedom of choice. You do have freedom of religion. You have every freedom available, but it does not exempt you from the responsibilities that come with those freedoms. You have to be accountable. You have to be responsible. You have to be able to raise your hand and say, I messed up, and I'll do whatever's necessary to solve or fix the problem. And that's kind of where we're lacking in society today. We have a plethora of freedoms, but a huge lack of responsibilities.
And can I just say that I do believe, if we want to talk about the feminist movement and how it ruined our lives, I would say that's not true. But what I would say is the gender roles that we had that were so rigid were not even biblical. And I had to deconstruct that for myself when I was walking through my own faith. And it's like all these things that I heard culturally, like what Bossman is saying, like what the culture is saying, the structure the culture gives, it's not even biblical. And so if the people who came over here were coming here for religious freedoms, but really to be Protestant Christians here, and then the system we're supposed to set up was supposed to reflect what God ordained for us to have, it doesn't do that. And so that's why I always reject anybody who tries to tell us, well, we need to go back to what was happening. Because what was happening isn't even God's original design for the family. A woman being at the home by herself 24/7 with her 3 kids is not the biblical setup of family. That is the lie of industrialism and this lie of the nuclear family that the Bible doesn't even have. And so I do think that there's a level of privilege that men have when they come to this conversation, because historically they really didn't receive the negative effects of the structure of man being the head, woman being the neck, right? So you wouldn't necessarily know how it impacted people being a double minority. And so I think men can use their privilege to just center women's voices in this case instead of centering their privileged voices.
Just let me ask you something, because you're a regular on here, and you brought this up about men having this privilege. Can you unpack what this actual privilege is so that all the men on the panel can actually rebut what you're saying?
I would love to, but I have to be somewhere right now. There's 168 privileges that men have, but one of the biggest ones men have is the automatic assumption that you're smarter, you're better, and you are the leader. Men are not natural leaders, men are not natural protectors, and men are not natural providers. You have to be taught how to do that. So the privilege you get when you can just walk into a room and people think you're the boss, when a woman could walk to the room and they think she the help, is the privilege. And we can see that even in the professional spaces and then in the romantic spaces. You're the one who is supposed to be making the most money because you're the one who is smarter. You're better than her. You're the one supposed to be giving her advice, not her giving you advice, because you're better than her. Men are taught that their masculinity is the antithesis of anything feminine. So as they grow up, they have a deep contempt for feminine qualities that they deem are like being chatty or pillow talking or being incredibly emotional. And so then they're not able to have to really be in relationships with women. But also men are not taught that their value comes from a woman picking them. So that's a privilege y'all have, right? You can go throughout the world and you can be 35 years old, unmarried, child-free, and no one looks at you as your damaged goods, but they'll look at a 35-year-old child-free, unwed woman as damaged goods. And we hear that on TikTok all the time.
What if I told you that at the age of 30, I was looked at as damaged goods because I didn't have a wife and I didn't have kids?
By who?
By a woman.
By one woman, Fifth? Are you for real?
By more than one.
You just said a woman.
No, okay, then I'll go even further. Not every woman in the world, I can't count it, but a man who was trying to be out there dating and pursuing. Yes, I've had many stumbling blocks of women who thought there was something wrong with me because I was 30 years old and I was single with no kids, never been married before, never proposed to anyone, never engaged. Yes, that has happened in my experience. Why is that so hard to believe, Jess?
Well, even
I've
what you
even
just
seen
said,
that
you
prompt.
said a woman, and then society doesn't look at you as a bad thing. So I would find it very not great for us to compare your day-to-day, your anecdotal day-to-day experience with this particular woman and say that means society looks at you as damaged goods, because that's what I'm talking about. The systemic value women have is
But
very
just
different.
to his point, I've actually seen that prompt in these TikTok streaks. If a man is 35 years old, doesn't have kids, and never been married, is that a red flag? And I'm like, damn, that's a unicorn in our community. But he's right. Women do vilify and look at men a certain kind of way if they haven't hit certain benchmarks within a certain time frame. If a 35, 40-year-old man doesn't have kids, never been married, and has his ish together, a lot of women be like, well, what's wrong with him? Well, why? How come nobody's ever locked up? And that is a very valid point on his behalf.
All I want to say
Okay, but
is,
you know how that's not true
agree.
is because Cam Newton is not damaged goods to y'all, but Cardi B is.
Then
The same way.
Cam is definitely damaged.
So, Jess, you bring up outliers, and on this panel, we're not celebrities like that. So, most of the people in the world are people who are average or have average lifestyles or non-celeb lifestyles. So, when you bring up a Cam Newton or a Cardi B, that's an extreme.
No, Fifth. I'm
But
not
then
talking
they
about
do a good
Fifth. I'm
job of
not
covering up
talking
for
about them specifically. I'm talking about how
you
the
saying those men with
culture.
those choices.
I'm
Yeah.
talking about them, the culture around them, right? Not them specifically in their celebrityness, the culture. Where if Cardi B is a worn down 304, Meg Thee Stallion is a worn down 304, and she got what she deserved from Clay. Cam Newton is a man. Cam Newton went forth and did what men do, which is to produce, to reproduce, to replenish the earth. That's what I'm saying. The culture will has never looked at men as you are damaged goods because you are unmarried, unwed. Even though anecdotally you can say some women came to you and was like, "What's wrong with you?" We can pick that whole story apart, Fifth, but there's a lot of details we're missing.
Yeah. With that scenario, they got the same pair of cards, they just played it differently. And right now I can actually name me all Cam Newton wives. And then I can say, well, name me the last 5 people you think Megan Thee Stallion been one. You probably could give me some names. The problem is the way they play their cards, and to me, this is a personal thought. That's why they're the way they are. But this is what I'm saying. When I say go back to traditional, I'm not saying go back to the exact moment of that moment. What I'm saying is the moment of teaching. Because right now, this conversation, I'm thinking about the youth. So I'm thinking about what's the best way I can grasp the view. Right now, we're telling the kids, go, you got freedom, go do what you want. By them having freedom, doing what they want now, lead us to what you just said. Just society has a point of view of what a man is and what a woman is. That's what society freedom created. This is what a high value man is. Money, cars, blah, blah, blah. We strip that man naked, he don't have no value. What happened to character? What happened to character and integrity? That's what I'm trying to say. I think the word I'm looking for, the taught of how traditional was back then, we need that today on a sense of teaching kids on what to look for or to aim for in relationship. If you should aim for character and integrity. So what, he got a big house, a nice car, and so what he could provide? Is he a good husband? That's what I'm trying to say. I think I love freedom, but sometimes people don't know what to do with freedom. Sometimes people do nothing with freedom. So what I'm aiming for is saying that I agree everybody should create their own like it is today, but for the youth, I would never tell a young boy, young girl, go figure it out. You got all the freedom in the world. You got this. It's more of this is that, taught. You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to say. I think society should go based on a taught atmosphere versus freedom, because now we got people telling us this is what a man and a woman is from society. You're 35 with kids as a man. This is what society, you see what I'm saying? Society just putting out BS because we gave them the freedom to do so. That's all I'm trying to say.
Dr. Love, you were off mute. Were you getting ready to say something? Because I was.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I hear what everyone's saying, and I'm not saying culturally, we have all the answers, but I think the one thing that I do understand, even though we are conditioned from quite a young age, and we know supposedly what our purpose is, according to our parents, gender roles do have a place, because I think part of the problem in society today is everyone's just confused. Nobody knows what they're doing. Men are waiting for women to text them first. Women are waiting for men to make the move. Nobody really knows what's going on. And we're in a culture of 50-50. And, when you question someone about it, they'll say, well, you've got the feminist move to thank for that. But no, it's not. A man is a man, a woman is a woman. Do I think we're the same? No, we're absolutely not. We have different strengths. And to bring those strengths together is what makes a team, in my opinion. And when you have structured roles, it works because you both know what your responsibilities are and you're both working for the same family. Now, we were talking about back in the day, and we don't know if the marriages were successful. If I just look at my own parents and I look at my dad, who was the breadwinner, my mum looked after 4 of us, and, she would also go out and work on the weekends, or occasionally strawberry picking was the thing then, and onions and all that business. But that was her spare pocket money. He would work and run the house. But my father would also wake up on a Saturday morning on his day off and make her breakfast in bed, and they would talk lovingly in their own very weird way. But there was love there. They did care for one another, and he did care. So even though he was the man, it wasn't she's the woman and that's it, her opinions don't count. My mum definitely wore the trousers in the house, 100%. And most Asian women do. Even though we have defined roles, we as women are very empowered in the sense that whatever goes on in the house is we are taking the lead. We make the decisions on, a lot of things inside the house, but the men have the overall say when it's external things. Now, some people may look down at that. Some people might say it's suppressed. Some people might say, oh my God, but it works for a lot of families. It really, really does. And me growing up and seeing my parents' relationship, it wasn't like the movies, but I got it. I understood it. And it worked for them. So I do think gender roles can have a very big benefit in a relationship. And it would cut out some of the confusion that people are experiencing now, because the 50-50 doesn't work either.
Well, so I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence, and I hear you all loud and clear. Here's the thing. If you have 100 people who are together and you see a few of them and say, well, they did positive things, that must be successful. Causation doesn't equal correlation. there's still no true way, because I can say now that even in today's time, there are couples who are together who don't follow that model, and they love each other. They feed each other breakfast and they have brunch. So I can't say that, one is more successful than the other. There's no like true measurement. I would really have to review that. This is what I will say, and this is when oppression comes in. So this reminds me a lot, specifically when men are like, this is your place. This is what you should do. Know your place. Why are you complaining? Oh my gosh, you mean to tell me that you want me to respect you and you want to have a voice? So now you're the enemy. That reminds me of slavery. That those men with that mindset in my head would support slavery, because all you have to do is fill in the blank. That there is a oppressor, there are a set of rules, and then there's the people who, hold on for 1 second, I'm sorry.
Okay. I just want to make it clear, her last point about, I don't think anybody up here doesn't believe women shouldn't have a voice. None of the men up here on this panel believe that. I definitely don't. To represent this panel, I just want to make that clear for people who come to this panel. I definitely believe women should definitely have a voice. I know T is not saying it about me, but I just want to make that clear for the panel, because I know a lot of panels on TikTok, there are men who do talk like that, but no, I do believe a woman should have a voice. So I don't believe in the slavery part. No, definitely no.
Okay, and I'm sorry, my candle was actually popping all over the place, trying to prevent a fire here. But yeah, so there's the oppressors. And then we use terms very loosely just for the sake of this conversation. I'll say that we have the inferior, right? And that is the woman, that here, this is your place. You stay in your place. I make the final decision and I am in control. So with that said, those same actions is what you can fill in the blank for slavery. That literally they said, we make the rules, you all stay in your place. And then when they said no, like, I want you all to see me like I am a man, even though I am BLK, I am a man just like you are a man. I am a human being, and I should be able to have a voice. I should be able to do these things. And then there's a war going on. There's all hell breaks out forever, simply because one human being is telling the other human being to stay in their place. They are inferior. They are not equal. You can replace that with either gender or color. So what I don't understand is, especially with a BLK man, if you watched us go through this and you all had the same fight, because me, I have a double sword. Not only am I BLK, but I'm also a woman. So we got past, in a sense, because it's still there. But at least we were able to get some form of rights to say, okay, I am not oppressed. You all are somewhat seeing me as having a voice because I am this color. But now as a woman, because of my gender, I also got to fight you because of your gender. So it's nonsensical to me when BLK people cannot relate. It is a direct correlation, just like slavery. The positions are the same. There's an oppressor, there is a system, and then there is you stay in your place, and this is the way it works. Like, why don't you want to be here? Doesn't this work? Don't you love this structure? Aren't you happy? It's crazy.
The problem, as I see it, isn't necessarily that men want women so much to stay in their place. It's more that women actually perpetuate that stay in your place mentality when it comes to traditional dating and relationships. It's women having that expectation that because you have a peen, you're supposed to be the leader, you're supposed to be the protector, you're supposed to be the provider, you're supposed to be financially responsible for 100% of this. And at the same time, you're saying, I want you to fulfill these roles and these responsibilities because you're a man, but I still have a voice as a woman, even though I'm not willing to contribute, even though I'm not willing to share the responsibilities, even though I'm not willing to go half on whatever domestic or financial labors are required. And that's where the problem comes in. If you are a woman and you feel like you want to have a voice and you want to be treated equal and you want all the same opportunities, you have to accept the same responsibilities. Even going back to your anecdote about slavery, when black men said, you know what, I'm a human being, I'm equal to you, I can do everything you can do, treat me the same, get your foot off my neck. When they took the foot off the neck, we can't still back and say, okay, well, we go still live in the slave house. We still go eat your food. We still go, take all the benefits that we had, whatever few they were, of being on this plantation. No, get out, get your own thing, work hard and do what you have to do. But again, when it comes to traditional relationships, and this is the biggest ick that I have with the feminist mentality, you even put it in the prompt or in the comments. You wanted to be valued equally, not lose the romance. But chivalry and romance were the backbone of a patriarchal structure. I didn't open the door for you because I was being nice. It was because you were a woman and you were too weak to do so. I didn't carry that box because you could. It was because you couldn't and you were too weak to do so. All the things that men do chivalrously was because women could not or weren't allowed to do so. Now that women are in a position where they're saying, I can, they're saying, I still don't want to. So until we can get over that hump and move more towards an egalitarian society where instead of men having to chase women, people come together equally. Instead of men having me the protector and the provider and the leader, which I agree with Jess, our skill sets and need to be learned and not gender specific, we can have a conversation about what are you good at? Here's what I'm good at. Here are the things that I'm going to take care of based off of my skill set. Here's the things I expect you to take care of based off your skill set. How are we going to divide this income because you have a job, you make money, you made sure that you had an education? How is that going to contribute to the relationship? But until we get to a point where we can have that conversation as human beings and irregardless of gender, we're going to keep having these problems and running into walls.
So I don't want to conflate everything together. And I'll go back. There's 2 points that I'll talk about. I'll talk about the romance and feminism, but I'll go back to the example that you used when I talked about slavery and you were like, okay, take your foot off our necks, but we want the same benefits. You have to also remember that some slaves still wanted to stay, that some slaves are still under the Stockholm syndrome. So I'm not talking about a group of genre or nuanced people who still want to do that. I'm talking about the majority of women as a whole, similar to the majority of Black people as a whole. Sure, some ran when they could. Some wanted to get off Master's plantation. And some of them were shunning the others, saying, but Master treats us so good. How come y'all gonna cause some trouble here? So I don't want to conflate. I'm talking about the big picture. Secondly, I just want to be clear that you can fall into, because just as a man, it's not that you all designed the system. We know who designed the system, but patriarchy exists and it exists without romance. There is not a direct correlation. You are trying to make the correlation. Patriarchy is a huge system. This is macro. And what you're talking about are subsets on how we treat each other in relationship. And there's not a direct correlation. So here's the thing. So first off, a feminist is more of a person who was into politics, who wanted to change laws, who wanted to change the rules from that perspective. There is a range. A person can also advocate for women or be pro-woman and not be a feminist. A feminist was the marcher, it's more so associated with politics. But aside from that, as it relates to feminism and them simply saying that you have a voice in this, you get to vote, I would like to vote too. You get to decide what you do with your body. Oh my gosh. If I ever wanted to use birth control, I would like to be able to do that as well. This is my body. I shouldn't have to go to a man to get permission for that. That you all should not pay me less. That my voice should be, as a human being, as equal to your voice. It does not say, because I want to be heard, that now, oh, well, you the man. You want a voice, do you? That's weaponizing. That's saying if you're asking me to respect you as I would respect another human being man, now that you're asking for so much, you want to be a man, so you pick up your own bags. It has nothing to do with the physical qualities as it relates to romance with each other, because a lot of those feminists actually had husbands who were right there with them. It was simply saying, oh my God, you all get to vote? Oh, they're saying I'm just a little woman and my voice does not count. You don't see me as a human being, that I don't even get a chance to go to college. You're telling me that the education is for them, this gender, but you're saying that I'm not even worth you allowing me into college because of what I was born this way. I was born a particular gender and you're telling me I'm not worth you, human being, and you get more rights than I do. So when people conflate this, for a person to say simply, let my voice also be of value, to now weaponize it. Oh, you want to be heard, do you? Well, go on. You're a man. That is utterly ridiculous, and that's manipulation.
I disagree, and I'll tell you why. We have to understand that.
Pleasure. Before you finish, I just want
Go
to
ahead,
say
brother.
this. I don't know how we got here, but we're here. But Pleasure, can you do me a favor after you respond to her that you just bring us back on track?
100%.
Thank you.
I'll try to make this quick. Again, with power comes responsibility. With freedom comes responsibility. With equality comes responsibility. And the issue that I see when it comes to feminism versus patriarchy at the end of the day comes down to, even when women find themselves in equal position, they do not want to share equal resources and or responsibilities. And societally and romantically, we cannot build a fence and separate the two, because they do impact the other. If you're telling a man that you're romantically interested in, that he has to assume a position of, again, leader, protector, provider, you can't then tell that same person that I'm going to make all the decisions and you're not, or my voice is as equal to yours, because you're putting him in a position where that's not the case. I completely understand the feminist ideology. Being equal, I'm all for it. Having the same opportunities and access, I'm 100% behind you. But if you ask 100 women, if you went to school for 12 years, got a PhD, and earned $500K a year, would you ever look at a man and say, you know what, if you can just be a good man, love me, take care of me, watch these kids, take care of this house, cook and clean up, I'll take care of all these financial responsibilities? 99 of them would say absolutely not. So even when you have that same opportunity, when you have those same resources, you still have this different expectation based solely on the fact that he's a man and you're a woman. Romantically, those same expectations. You're a man, so these are the things that you're supposed to do. I'm a woman, and these are the things that I'm supposed to do. You cannot separate the two. Unfortunately, you just really can't. So bringing it back to the prompt. In relationships. Uh-oh.
Sorry, I got a lot going on over here. My bad. Go ahead.
I'm gonna need you to blow out that candle before you burn the house down.
I'm listening, but I got a lot going on. Go ahead.
Yeah, like if you're happy, be happy. Find somebody who adds to your happiness more than they subtract from your happiness. If you're miserable, please don't find somebody who's equally as miserable. And whatever you're looking for, if you're paying attention, all things will be revealed over time in a relationship. That's it. I'm
The
gonna go
only
have lunch.
thing, and if just a hot 20 seconds, because we don't have to stay here. I know the topic isn't on here, but this is the only thing that I would try to get. I was raised with brothers, even with my brothers, to understand. Men were automatically, just because of their gender, considered to be equal. So when other men start bringing in comparisons about physicality, guess what? There are some men who are stronger than others. There are some men who are incapacitated. There are some men who are mentally ill. There are some men who are retarded, etc. There is not a breakdown in category that says, because man, you are more physically, you're physically stronger than these other men, and you're more powerful in the physical realm than them, or because he's handicapped, that men, we are going to break down equality and access based on your strength. So it is mind blowing to me that even though there's not the breakdown amongst the category of men, that when it comes to women, you will then flex your strength in what you could do. That's not the way it works. Just like that handicapped man had the right to vote, whether he had no legs, no arms, whatever, he was still, just because he was a man, not his physicality, just his gender alone said that his voice was equal to the next man, the strong man. So this has nothing to do with my physicality as a woman. Just as a human being, my God, why can't we all have a voice? Why are you mad at me because I'm saying I never had a voice? Hello, I'm raising my hand in class. Can I speak too? Then you have men who it's just sickening to me. It's sickening.
Okay. I don't know how we got here, but I guess I'm gonna ask you a question, T, because in terms of equality that you mentioned amongst men is more from a civil rights standpoint in this sense, right? But I notice in other worlds, in other categories and genre that we live in, I'm not equal to every man, right? And women know that, and women have no problem with that, right? So I'm 5'8". If a woman wants a man who's 6'4", am I equal to that 6'4" man?
That's what I'm saying. We're mixing things. Those are totally different. When feminists,
I'm making a new point here. That's why.
you are, but let me just clarify, because this was based
No.
on.
I got your point, but I'm trying to move the conversation along. So I'm just asking, am I equal to that 6'4" man?
So physical height, which was
Yeah.
never the point. No, physical, but that's conflating what we're saying. That has nothing to do with what we're saying.
T. I'm moving the conversation along because it's going in circles. So the reason why I'm making a new point, if not, then I'll ask Dr. Love. Dr. Love, you there?
It's a new point based off what we were saying. It's not really new. It's just piggybacking off of what we were saying.
Dr. Love, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. So my point, right, that I'm making, right, because we're going to go through it. I'm long-winded, so it's going to take some time. So me being 5'8" in the dating game, right, am I equal to the 6'4" man?
No.
Okay. Is a woman who is 200 pounds equal to the woman who's maybe like 130 in terms of weight? Are they equal?
No.
Okay. So the reason why I'm bringing these points up is because we're going back to my prompt. Okay. In terms of the relationship category, there are things that men and women accept amongst each other, right? Because there are women who are not even equal to other women, right? You have women who are fighters, like professional fighters. You got Clarissa Shields, you got Amanda Nunes. As a fighter, you're not equal to them, right?
Correct.
Right. If there's a certain job or a task, right, and you have a woman who is physically stronger, right, you're going to use that, right, to your best of your advantage, right?
Correct.
Are you going to use a woman who's more, let's see, mentally, let's say she's just a little more smarter, not that you're dumb, but there are just some things that she's from an intelligence level just more informed on, and you're going to use that to the best of your advantage.
I lost that conversation, but I think where you're getting is I don't personally believe we're equal. So, I think we have different strengths, and we utilize our strengths to make it, like I said very at the beginning, a team. We bring our strengths into the relationship and we make it into a team, which is what makes the relationship healthier. Going back to your point.
Well, because the reason why I'm bringing this up is because, Dr. Love, you said it was a while ago. I know it got missed, but I didn't miss it. But Pleasure caught it in the comments. You said 50-50 doesn't work.
Yes,
Can
in
you
my
explain?
opinion.
Right. So can you explain what is 50-50 and why it doesn't work? Because he wanted an answer on that.
Yeah, well, you see, again, it's different perspectives. Some people might see it differently. The 50-50 I'm referring to doesn't work, is where you're splitting everything because you both want to be equal in the relationship. And because I don't believe men and women are equal, we have different strengths, for me, 50-50 wouldn't work, because just so that we're treated equally, we go to a restaurant, we split the bill 50-50. We have a house, we have a mortgage, we split the mortgage 50-50. Everything we're splitting. Finances, let's make it short, finances we're splitting 50-50. Are we also splitting love 50-50? Are we also splitting everything else 50-50? Are we splitting the children 50-50? The housework? So it doesn't work in the long haul, in my opinion, because in a relationship, I believe we have different strengths. So sometimes, fifth, in a relationship, I might be feeling down. I might be on my menstruals. I may be, not well. That time, I would want my partner to maybe bring 70% or 80% into the relationship, because I can only give him 20 in that moment. Vice versa. He might be on a work thing, or he might not be feeling, then I bring the 80 and he might only be able to give me 20. So for those reasons, I don't think 50-50 works. Sometimes it's 80-20, sometimes it might be 40-60, sometimes it might be 10-90. For those reasons, I don't think 50-50 does work. I think, the scales go as the relationship does and how well you know each other.
I have a
So,
question, Dr. Love.
yes.
Does that also, because that is another perspective of it, but that's not the traditional perspective of it, right? That typically when people are talking about 50-50, the very first thing that comes to mind is finances. So not level of effort. And certainly I think that is understood, because typically, especially as it relates to the context that you use it in, when you're going out on a date or finances, et cetera, when people are talking about 50-50 dates, all of that, they're talking about it from a financial perspective. So I can't agree with you on level of effort, clearly. And I think most people understand that love is going to be a fluctuating level of effort. So I'll just say that's a given. My clarifying question is, what is your take on a financial 50-50 relationship? Yeah, exactly, Kay, splitting the bills. What's your take on that? Do you think that doesn't work as well?
It depends on the couple. It wouldn't work for me, because I have a different mindset and I'm conditioned as I have been. So my thought process might be different to yours, for example. Some couples do split the mortgage, but then how are they splitting the mortgage? Because unless you are both on exactly the same salary, someone is going to be paying more. Because if I take home £1,000 a month, let's say, right, and you take home £2,000, and our bill mortgage is, say, 1,400, or and we're putting 7 both in, right? I'm just left with 3, because I only bought home 1,000. He bought home 2,000, so he's got 1,300 to play with for the month, and I've only got 300. Well, that's not fair, because if we're going to be splitting other areas of our bills or finances, I've only got £300 left. So unless we are on exactly the same salary, that 50-50 doesn't work financially either. So it might be, then he turns around and says, well, I'm bringing home £2,000, babe. So I'll put majority of it in, and you put something from the £1,000. Can you see my point? It doesn't work in that sense either, unless you are both earning exactly the same amount and you are exactly putting the same money into the pot, and then it can work. But if we're splitting our finances, it's not going to work. Because unless, like I said, unless we're on exactly the same salary.
I hear you. And I respect you and even your culture. I have a great appreciation for varying cultures. So I understand this is the Asian culture. I believe that's more high context. But nonetheless, the
Even if
way
it's
that it
not,
does.
even if it's not Asian culture, I work with a lot of people who are not from my culture,
Well,
and
no,
they
I was
come
just
in.
saying that because it's your perspective. You and
Yeah.
I'm just speaking that you gave your perspective on what you believe. So this is your personal opinion. So that's the only reason why I said it. But this is the gist of it. That so it does work, especially when it comes to IRS. When you look at IRS statistics and the split families who are contributing, that's the way it works. Now you can take a spin, and that's why I wanted to get back to the fundamental meaning of what people typically mean when they say 50-50. So it's typically not level of effort. It's typically not how this impacts me personally, that if I make this amount and you make this amount, is this technically 50-50? That the traditional sense that people are using it in is that you are giving, you're splitting it. You all are splitting it in half. So if this is a mortgage, I'm paying half and you're paying half. If this is a car note, I'm paying half and you're paying half. So I hear your other takes, but I'm just going with the fundamental of what everybody else is applying 50-50 to. And with that said, it does work because a lot of relationships cannot withhold the way that society works today in economy is that some of the men, especially in our community, in our BLK community, there are a lot of women who are African American women who are highly educated, who make a lot of money. There's even when it comes to the income level that it's going to take two of them, and sometimes one person may be making more than the other. So it's not a thought of, oh, if you make 50,000 and I make 30,000, technically are we 50-50? That it has nothing to do with that. It
So
is
how
that
do they
with this
split it?
house,
So how do they
it's
split it?
no,
Let's say you've got a
that's what I'm
mortgage. How
saying.
do they do it?
That's what I'm
How
about
do
to
they do it?
say. That's exactly what it is that the mortgage is $1,000. I pay 500, you pay 500. They are splitting the bills in half. That's what they mean by that.
But someone's worse off, right? Because then, like the scenario I just gave, if I'm earning 1,000 and my partner's earning 2,000, and we're putting, £700 each, I'm only left with £300. And if I'm still going 50-50, don't forget there's bills left yet, there's shopping left yet. So if we're going 50-50, I've got nothing left. What am I going to live off?
That is not the overall depths that you're going into is not what it means fundamentally. That
Well,
when people say this,
but the thing is, right, it kind of does, because when I talk to people who put my culture to a side, because in my culture, the man pays for majority of the things, right? Not the women, regardless of her salary. Her money is her money. His money is her money. That's how it is in our culture. But I work with people who aren't from
Dr.
my
Love,
culture.
say that again.
From my culture, the
The his
man,
money thing. Go ahead.
his money is my money, is our money. My money is my money. That's how it is in our culture, and also with how we Islamically do it as well. That's how it is. That's all Muslims understand that. His money is our money because he is the main provider and earner. And we have gender roles. So therefore, the women will be the women who will look after the home and will raise the children. And if she wishes to do a part-time job, she can. That's her extra money for her makeup. And don't get me wrong, we're not talking about lavish lifestyles, because that is also not the expectation. We're talking about a simple life that he is expected to maintain, kind of thing, while she looks after the kids and does the rest of the stuff. But the point that I'm making about people that I come across who are not from my culture and the problems that they have when this 50-50 is going on is exactly the scenario I just explained. They can't survive, and then there's resentment, then there's other financial problems, and it causes problems within their relationship when they try to go completely 50. What ends up happening is if the man earns more and the woman earns less, the man will ask her for a percentage, not as much as he's putting in, because he understands if she's only bringing in 1,000, I'm just using those figures, it could be whatever. If she's earning less or he's earning less, then the person who's earning less is bringing in less. But that isn't a split, really, is it? Because he's putting in more. So back my sentence where 50-50, in my opinion, doesn't work because
I
he's
think
even then contributing more.
it's just a spin. Like I said, even when the topic came up initially, then it was like your take, you took it to level of effort. And then I had to bring it back to that's not what people are talking about. Fundamentally, they're talking about busting this down the middle. And people do it. And the Census Bureau says that more US homes are actually, financed that way, as well as when you look up, I have to get whatever that study was, but it had that the majority of couples, especially BLK couples, are both paying the bills and they have what they're talking about 50-50, that they're doing that they are in these 50-50 relationships. So I don't want to take it to like your definition of what it could be, like a level of effort equals this and the level of impact equals this. I'm just saying fundamentally when it's said and when it's used across TikTok, they're talking about splitting the bills in half.
Well, let me chime in to make sure we're not going in a circle. So what really is the thing is just contribution. Is the wife contributing to the home in any capacity that she may be able to fit, just to get off this 50-50 thing, because 50-50 just locks it into just 50-50 and we can't have nuance. So here's where I'm going to add the nuance here, just a percentage. So for instance, I pay the mortgage, she pays the groceries, the and the utilities. I'm still paying more than her, but she's paying something. Dr. Love, that's what I would speak to.
Yes, but that for me would be a contribution. She's contributing. That's not 50-50.
Yes,
Because I'm
thank you.
going in the virtual sense. That's why I'm saying it doesn't work. I'm going, that's a contribution. And that's absolutely okay. And it should be, because everything shouldn't be put onto the man if you have the means to support and help out. But that's not 50-50 fifth, right?
No, I know that, and that's why I'm moving away from that, because like I just said, when you say when
That's common
people
sense,
bring up
though.
it, right, when people bring up 50-50, nuance is out the window. So my topics have room for nuance. My panels have room for nuance, for context. So that's why I'm just saying, like, really, it's just the conversation really amongst the men and the women. It's just really more so about a contribution. But the thing is, here's the extreme. If a man was to ask for 20%, she interprets 50-50. Not all, but that's usually sometimes that will happen in a conversation. That's where the man has to be extremely literal
Most.
and sit her down and say, okay, this is how much the bills cost. I need you to contribute this much to it. As soon as she sees it on paper, she could either be okay with it or not. So that is a discussion between the two couples. That is not something that is a broad painted brush against everyone, but that is something that is between the couples. What Pleasure may have talked to earlier was most 9 times out of 10, men are not marrying, women are not marrying men who make less money than them. Because if they did, and we got to the whole point of contribution, she would have to live with the fact that because she earns more, that she pays more. And a lot of women are not okay with that when being in a relationship with a man. So even though she may earn more, she's still going to require that husband to pay a comfortable percentage that she in her head is comfortable with. Not all.
I don't know. I'm on the fence. I don't have like the data to support it. The only thing that I know, and Jess, if you have any information, then let me know. The only thing that I know is amongst our community, and I'm just talking about BLK people with BLK people, that we have been exceeding our men in the educational realm, and we are climbing up the ladder and making a significant amount of money. And even when you factor in the numbers that I do know, that unfortunately there are a great number of our BLK men in prison. And then when you factor in the rainbow community, and now you're looking at people who are in similar circles, because marriage is typically about access, right? And relatability. I'm not saying that that's exclusively what it is, but we're also talking about people who get married. So there's studies that show that people who have education are more likely to get married than people who do not. So if I just use that as a model, a college couple, and she may make more money than him. So this could be a Black couple, but she does make more money than him. I'm not sure if in our community, the majority of the men are making more than the Black women. Do you have any information on that, Jess?
So, from what I know, the Black men are still out earning BLK women, even though BLK women are having more assets than BLK men. I just looked up how many women are marrying men who make less than them in America, and then I signified it by race. And so what this says from Pew is that 26% of Black women out earn their husbands. So that still wouldn't be the majority based on Pew. And then women, when you put in all women, so via the census, only 30% of women out earn their husbands out of 2021. So yeah, it does go to the fact that men are making more than women. But we knew that. We knew that because it's usually women who are told to get rid of their careers for the family. So of course, more men will make more money throughout their lifetime because they're not forced to do that.
Okay.
Wait, hold up.
Wait, hold on. Wait.
No, go ahead, Beyond.
When we're talking about women earning less than men or whatever you're talking about, are we going to ignore the factors as to why that is?
I can't hear you at all, Beyonder. What'd you say?
Hey, Beyonder, forget asking that. Just go into the nuance, brother, because you know how we do. Go into the context.
What do you mean? Well, no.
Well,
so
because
no.
You go ahead. You go ahead and explain the context. Go ahead.
Yeah, because if we're talking about women earning less than men, there are factors that go into that. It's not just because you're a woman that you make less. That got debunked a while ago.
Oh, no. I think it kind of got spun and lost. No, Fifth made a comment about marrying women marrying men who made more than them. So that's what it was. And I was just saying, I was just trying to see if that applied to the BLK community because I knew that the numbers were changing. That was it. That's it.
Okay.
Well, Beyond real quick, because now I got to respond to that. What I said was, because I can have this conversation without putting race in very easily. The point that I was making is that women typically, and this is a stat, typically do not marry men, not date, not have sex with, because there's plenty of that going on. We've seen Baby Boy. I'm talking about marriage. Most women across all cultures, including Black, are not jumping in the front of the line to marry men who make less money than them. That's not hard to believe.
Oh no, that's fair. That's absolutely
Okay.
fair. No, I was saying, and sorry, that was just me saying, oh, I want to get more information, and that's why I asked Jess, did she have any research? Because the numbers were shifting within our community, and even though she used that Pew research, if Jess goes on, which I do agree, that's a great number. If she goes on and does a deep dive, what happens is that the BLK men in our community, even if it is a great percentage that are like high earners, they're still low picking. So the numbers aren't adding up, right? Because there's unfortunately a great amount of men who are in prison. Like I said, the rainbow community is affected. So now when we're matching, we're like, I don't know if it's 20 to 1 or whatever it is. but there's still you have some information, Jess. I see your hand.
What about that?
Oh, okay, that's it. I
Well,
was just
well, well.
curious.
I have information. I have information. The good news is, I didn't want to do this, but I have to because this is live. The black men imprisonment rate is actually going down, which is a great thing. We don't lead in prison numbers. That's another thing. Obviously, because we're not most of the population in America, so white men definitely lead that, right? Because there's more of them than us. In terms of communities and what men and women make, white men still out earn their women, right? And their percentage of what they earn is still kind of close, just like ours, right? So the average man and women, non-race based, but the average man and women, the man makes more than a woman as far as average earners, but it's by I think a $3,000 to $5,000 difference a year. So it's not like it's like a huge difference of percentage, but the percentage still relies in that women typically, when they want to choose men to marry, they are definitely paying attention to what he earns, even if it's close, right? So let's say a woman makes 100K and he makes 80K. Do you know women will disqualify that man because he makes 20,000 a year less than him? But guess what? His 80K could still buy a home, but it's all about the fact that he makes 20,000 less than him. Now, if that's not a problem for women, that's cool, right? It's only 20,000 less. Now, once the margin gets a little larger, where okay, maybe he makes 50,000 less, then I can see women. Nah, we're not doing that. More women. There's majority and minority. Go
Okay,
ahead, Jess. I gotta.
I just don't understand how sometimes we devolve into this kind of conversation, because it's a
Well, just
system.
before you got up here, there was a lot of things. Before you came back, there were several things that got set up here, and I was trying to go back to the topic, but that's why it got brought up. But
No,
go ahead.
not like with y'all specifically. I'm saying it. I've heard this particular conversation devolve into, well, women want men to make more money than them, and it's said almost with like a level of contempt, kind of like women want too much kind of vibe, or like it's irrational or delusional for her to do that. And I always think like, well, that was the system men set up, that y'all would be the one she was financially dependent on.
So
So
if a woman, hold on, Jess. I'm I do let you talk up here, but I just want to make sure we're saying something new because I know we always go to this. So when I'm talking about it, I'm not saying that I'm mad. I'm just stating that what women are talking about and what women are actually executing in their dating life is what we really should go by. I don't care what a woman says. When I actually ask questions and go by what she actually does, that's what she is. Not what she says, but what she actually does.
but Faith,
So
you're
if a
saying
woman,
that she doesn't go after the women, she doesn't go after the man who's making 20,000 less than her, right?
no, I said that there are men who have been disqualified because he
They
makes
don't make enough.
20, because, well, you said enough. I said 20,000 less than what she earns, whatever that may be.
So that's what I'm talking about, Faith.
You said don't make enough. Don't make enough would be don't make enough for you.
But for her, in that scenario, he don't make enough. That's why he was disqualified, right?
Well, I mean, I also stated that that guy who got 80K still could own things of his own still with his 80K, depending
But
on
that's
where
what
he
I'm.
lives.
But that's what I'm
Go
saying.
ahead.
Faith. You
Yeah.
feeling the need to say that, like, girl, you could do so much with the 80K. It proves to me that there is a level of contempt with her having the standard that she won't date the person with 80K. And then that's what I'm addressing is
Yeah, but I didn't
why
say that, Jess, but okay.
Didn't you just say that he could do so much with the 80K, so she shouldn't disqualify them?
I didn't say that she shouldn't disqualify anything. I said there are men who could get disqualified for that small difference. And then I went to a larger margin of that. Well, if he makes 50K, there are definitely going to be 50,000 less than her. Then there are definitely going to be more women that are going to be like, nah, I'm not going for that. I'm making a point that women typically, this is the point that I'm
Yeah.
making. I'm making a point that typically women don't marry men who make less than them. And it is what it is. So being that women typically don't marry men who make less than them, then the contributions in terms of what is going on to the home goes back to the whole contribution in terms of the 50-50 conversation.
But
And what
that's
I'm
not what I'm
saying
talking
is,
about.
yeah, I know, but go ahead. Sorry.
I just want to keep what we're talking about. We're talking because I'm not talking about the contribution thing. I specifically brought up a separate thing, which was the contempt that I hear when men talk about women not going after men who make less than them. And it sounded like, Fifth, in all of the scenario you brought up, was specifically the woman who's making 100K and the man who's making 80. You said out your mouth that a lot of women, well, even just the woman in that scenario, that she would disqualify him because of that small difference. You said that. So the small difference tells me that you believe it's not a big enough thing to disqualify him. Because then you also said he could do so much with that 80K. So to me, it sounds like you're trying to defend his position against the woman, saying that she should want to take on a man who makes 80K because he can do so much with it, and it's such a small difference. And so that's where I'm trying to stay, is why do we have these conversations about what the women should be, quote unquote, lowering her standards, quote unquote, when we know that historically it was the man who was supposed to make more money. So why, like, if men want to be, quote unquote, the leaders, why do we then, in a separate conversation, have contempt for the women who don't want that man who making less than her?
Hey, Beyonda, can you hear me?
I get you now.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
Beyonda,
What's up?
what did you hear when I was speaking? Did you hear contempt?
No. No,
Dr.
you were
Love,
just
did you?
saying. You were just saying what it is.
Right, Dr. Love, did you hear contempt?
No.
Okay, the reason why I'm asking people on the panel is because I'm not perfect. I could be wrong. So I'm asking other people on the panel if they didn't hear that, because if they heard it, then I can correct that. But since y'all two didn't hear that, then there's no need for me to correct that. I think everybody else understood what I was saying,
Well, I mean,
but it wasn't
honestly,
content.
I understood both of you all, and both of you all have points. Sometimes it's not exactly what's said. Like, a person doesn't have to say the key word or be a type, a recorder. It was what was implied. So I understood exactly what she said. The words that you did use were, it was almost in disdain, like, oh, like, and can you believe when this situation happens, if she makes 100K and he makes that, can you, it's the implication of it. So no, you didn't use any magic words, but it's, you can defer what a person is saying based on what they said. And it was implied. It appeared that you were saying, like, oh my, can you believe this? That then when a woman has a man who makes 80K and it's only like a 20K difference and she makes 100K, that she will leave him. So I guess my question is, how do you feel about that situation? Okay, she makes 100K and he makes 80K and then she left him. What's your opinion on that?
Wait, that she left him, or was my opinion on women who out earned their men?
The scenario itself, that was the scenario, the 100K and 80K. So the scenario that you brought up, what are your thoughts on the scenario that you brought up? Okay, so she makes 100K, he makes 80K. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't have no problem with that. I personally dated a woman who made more than me, more
But
than once.
the scenario was that she didn't want to be with him. That was a part of it.
Okay, so the second part, I just wanted to answer the first part because I want to make sure it's clear. I don't have a problem, me personally, dating a woman who earns more than me. Okay, let's go to the scenario. If she left him because he made 20,000 less, that's her thing. It is what it is. If he's smart, he'll go find a woman who will take his 80K.
You're saying that she like best practice though is it's too small of a difference for her to disqualify him.
So is that a question, or is that something that you think I said? I just want to make sure.
I think it's just something that we were trying to get an
Well,
understanding of what was the purpose of telling us that, right? So
yeah,
when a
because
person says something, you're like, oh, what is it that they mean behind this? So when you made the statement, he makes 100K, she makes 100, he makes 80, and then she's unhappy. That's the outcome. I don't have the exact words, but she's unhappy,
I
and now they're not together. So
no, I
what?
said
Not what you.
no.
Mm.
No, go ahead, T.
No, it's not about what you said verbatim. It's about the intent of you were trying to say something about bringing up this scenario, right? 100K, 80K, then there is separation because of unhappiness. I
and he
don't have all the
compared
perfect
it.
words.
He compared it.
So my question is, what was it that is there an issue with that? Or what was the message that you were trying to get across when you made that statement?
All right, let me see if I can remember. So we were. No, I know a lot gets set up here, and I'm trying to pick it up. I'm trying to get to it. So I was mentioning we were talking about statistics and earnings,
Mm-hmm.
and who earns more. I mean, that's something that you brought to the table, right?
Okay.
So, and I'm long-winded, so sometimes it takes me time to get to the point. What I was stating is that when it comes to marriages, I was just stating what the facts are in terms of like women and what they would prefer, right? I didn't have ill intent. I was just explaining what it is. And being that because that's what it is, the man is always going to contribute more because the woman out earns him. Also, part of my intent was even if a woman marries a man who makes less money than him, she still wants him to pay most of the bills. Now I remember that was where I was going. That was where I was going. Maybe that got missed, but that was the point that I made earlier is that even if she gets with a man and he earns less than her, she's still going to want him to still pay most of the bills, if not all of it. That was my point of bringing up. That was why I brought up the 100K and 80K, because 80K is 20,000 less than 100K. If he's living within his means, he can still afford most of the bills. She just out earns him. And what I'm saying is, in that situation, a woman can disqualify the man because he makes 20,000 less, or she could still be with that man because he makes 80,000, 20,000 less. You know why? Because all the bills are being paid. So what's the complaint?
So doesn't that sound like what I was asking, which was why even bring it up if it wasn't a problem? Because you're saying it like the 80K is sufficient, right?
The 80K, in terms of living within the means, is sufficient for the survival of the family. Yes.
Okay, so the woman in your scenario who drop kicked her man and left him for dust, even though he was making 80K, are you trying to tell us that you're not saying she is wrong for doing that?
So her being wrong for that is not the point that I made. But if a woman is disqualifying a man because he makes 20,000 less than her, then that's her decision. Whether if it's just the money, but everything else he checks off is good, then I'm gonna say this. I have no problem saying that. Let's just say he got the 80K and he's a good man, and she disqualified him because he makes 20,000 less. Then yeah, she is wrong.
So that's all I'm saying, Fifth. That's the whole reason why I even brought up the whole contempt or disdain thing. And that's what I wanted to address
But
was,
I had right, but the nuance of him being a good man or not was not there, so that's why I had to put that in there.
but I don't think it matters. I mean, I don't think it matters, but
No, it does matter. It does matter.
okay, so let's so it matters to you. Then I still feel like I don't want to like turn the conversation too crazy. I just wanted to center that when we talk about the money thing and the woman doesn't want to be with the man who earns less, I do find that to be in part a little hypocritical because I thought that men believed women are hypergamous. I thought that men say that women should be led by the men. So why in this scenario with the woman who, even though he a good man, he just make 80K, why is she still in the wrong for doing what men say is natural to women, which is to get the higher earner?
It's natural for women to desire that because once upon a time, women didn't make that much money. So a woman being a hypergamous back then made sense. She's gonna want a man who could lift what she can't lift, push what she can't push, and earn what she can't earn. So if a woman had no job and she wants to be with a man with a job, ain't nobody got a problem with that.
So now it's the amount. Because the amount's too high. Now men have to make more to then earn more than women. When
Well,
before they could only make $10,000 because she didn't work.
the definition of hypergamy doesn't give an actual number. It just says a higher status.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like men are
Yeah.
upset about having to out earn women, even though men were out earning women before, because now the number has changed. So what could worked in the 1930s for 50,000, he now has to make 150,000 to out earn her and to be quote unquote making more than her and to be in that traditional leadership role.
Well, I don't think men are actually pissed off about that like you think. I think it's just more of the goalpost moving when said relationship gets in, because on one end there will be a pocket of women, and listen to my words very carefully, okay? There will be a pocket of women who will have a problem with out earning their man, but that same pocket of women um, is happy about the wage gap getting smaller. But also, it's the responsibility. If you want to earn more, or are you comfortable with paying more? And most women will tell you no.
Fifth, I
Hi,
feel like you're
Mr. Lee.
conflating a lot of things. Oh, go ahead, T.
Oh no, I was just saying hi. Hi, Mr. Lee.
Now
Hey,
you know.
everyone.
Now you know DV cases when the man makes less than the woman are crazy. I just want to say that
Okay,
there are men.
so then, all right, then here's the solution, right? To all women out there, don't get with a man who makes less money than you because you can get beat.
Oh my gosh, that's what I'm trying to
I'm just
say.
saying.
That's what I'm saying,
No,
Fid.
but you brought up DV cases.
But
I
that's
didn't bring up DV cases.
but Fid, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like if we're going to take that path that women should go for men with more money, then I don't think that in these TikTok spaces we should be telling her that she should have stayed with the 80,000 K man just because he was a nice guy. I think we should expect for her to go after the 100K, the 150K guy. There should be no conversation about her trying to stay with the 80K guy. That's what I'm
If
saying.
he's a good man, you know what's so crazy, Jess? And we're just having a conversation. I ain't mad. I'm really not. You know what's crazy, Jess? Is that
Tell me.
is that on one side, I've had women on this panel come up here and say that the 100K guy is abusive. So if y'all could just focus on just getting a good man, you know, cause where the goalposts, like where are we going? You don't pick a man who make less than you because you can get slapped up, but don't pick a man who makes more than you because he can slap you up too. where did we go? Where did we go?
Yeah, so women, go ahead, T.
Oh no, I I didn't. I think Mr. Lee had his.
Yeah, my bad, brother Lee. My bad, man. I'm sorry.
Nah, it's
Mr.
all
Lee, you
good.
there? Yeah, we're just having a conversation. Me and Jess do this every time we get up here, but it's really not crazy. We're actually on good terms. We just have passionate conversations. So
No,
the
as you
prompt,
should.
yeah. The prompt today is do relationships bring happiness or reveal what's already within? What do you think, Mr. Lee?
Well, relationships, I mean, it can bring forth happiness. My ideology on relationships and things of that nature may be a little bit different. Uh, so just bear with me. I don't think relationships necessarily bring forth happiness as much as the desire out of relationship is to have joy within that relationship, because joy in your heart and in your partner, that's something that can last forever, whereas though happiness comes and go every day. Just like that movie, that it was, the whole thing was the pursuit of happiness. Happiness is only something that you can pursue, because how many times have you seen someone happy one minute and then pissed off or upset or angry the next? So happiness is not something that stays. It comes and goes like the wind blows. So um, you gotta have that joy in your heart, and that's how you can be happy with the other person. But the most interesting thing that I was listening in on is when you guys were talking about hypergamy, and you know a woman leaving her husband or significant other because she made more money than him. You know, there's something inherently wrong with that, because for most men, and when I say most men, I mean the ones that I know, including myself, not just the general public. But for most men that I associate with and interact with on a regular basis, you know, they go out to make money and make as much as they can because they want to provide and to support their family, their wives, their children, so on and so forth. I think there's something wrong because as a woman, I'm not saying all, because I can't speak for all of you, but why isn't it the same way? Because if you have this bond and you have this marriage relationship, you're supposed to enter into it as one. So if the man makes 150,000 and you make 80,000, okay, that 150 plus 80 is yours. It's combined. The man isn't looking at it like, okay, I make 150, you make 80, so I'm better. No, he's looking at it like, I make enough to provide for my family. Whereas though I've seen a lot of women on these panels, if they are the higher earner, it's like, oh, well, you know what? I'm better. I need somebody that's better. You're not on my level. Well, that's not a good relationship. Because it shouldn't matter that the woman makes 100 and the man makes 80. It should be we make 180. We gonna live a good life because we make 180. It shouldn't really matter. I mean, I can see that it does, but it shouldn't.
The only thing,
I just don't get that.
the only thing I'll say, and I'll
You know,
say
you
really
know why?
quickly.
Because men, we don't date like that. That's why we don't care. We'll marry a woman with no job as long as she's a good woman. Go ahead.
Right, but you all care about looks. So most men, even if it's still a thing. It may not be this thing, but there still is a thing. So it is well known Like we're talking about hypergamy, and that's what I was going to say, that there is a system that was designed for that. There's a system that is structured by patriarchy. So this is the design of the system. So I do get Jess's question is valid. If the system is this, then how can you complain about the system? I understand that, but I do disagree. In any love, this is marriage. So the foundation of my marriage would be love, and something as insignificant, that would be something insignificant for me as a $20,000 difference, when the contribution is much greater than that, then that would be petty. And I would feel like that's not the foundation of my marriage, because my marriage would be love. But I got both sides. And that's what I was saying. It wasn't the words that you all were saying. I understood the message. But to you, Lee, God damn it. I forgot what I was going to say. You said something I wanted to comment. Okay, let me go back on mute. I'll think about it.
Um,
An anomaly. The men around you, if they truly are doing things for their family and not for them, then you are an anomaly. Men often treat their jobs as their mistresses. Men often find so much fulfillment from their career, and they see it as a badge of honor for them to be able to financially provide for all of these people. It's an ego boost for them. And so we may often hear the words, well, I'm doing this for my family. But I have seen, I have heard, and I have witnessed men who just like the power that comes with being able to finance a family. Not that he's doing it of the fulfillment of his family. And the reason why I say that is because he sees the money as a tool for control. He puts his wife on a salary, or not salary, on an allowance. She can't do what she wants to do. She has to be in the house. She can't have other things. She is an accessory to his life. And so what I will say is that to land my plane, I don't believe that women should be going after men for money. What I am saying is that if people like to use that traditional, I'm the head, I'm the leader language, then they should not also be upset with a woman who wants a man who makes more than her, whether it's 100K or 350K, right? That was my point.
so so let me ask you a question, Jess, because what Lee is talking about is actually not an anomaly. But back to what you said, I want to ask you a question, a very fair question. The equation of making more in leadership, does the person have to make more in order to be a leader?
Culturally, yes. Via Jessica, no.
Culturally, yes. Oh, what culture?
Our culture, Black culture, culture of humans, the patriarchy that T brought up, all of human
Black
history.
American culture? So Black American culture has taught that the man has to make the most money in order to be the leader of the household?
Yeah, I mean, this is pre-colonization Africa right here that we're talking about.
Okay, wait, hold on. So you said Africa. So is this African culture or is this Black American culture? You saying we got it from
Black Americans
you
have been
saying we got it from African culture?
Yeah, so I want to just bring up that it started in there, so it was in Africa. Black Americans, right, do have their own version of patriarchy here. Yes, where the man has to make more. The woman was not historically getting paid for her domestic labor. The man got the right to vote before even the white woman got the right to vote. Yeah, it is a
So
man's world in America.
okay, so does money earn submission?
Culturally, yes, men think though. Men think that. Jessica does not.
Okay, think that. So if I make more money, so the money that I make determines how submissive she is.
Yes, money is power, like what T said. Men define their masculinity through their production, which is why when you
Okay.
ask them what they contribute to a relationship, it's always production based.
Okay. Has making more money than a woman kept a marriage?
Yeah,
According to what?
what Dr. Love said, and even what Boss Man was saying about us getting back to what we used to do. Yeah, the women back in the day who was married to the people they hated, they was there because of the money. Women,
I'm talking about right now.
you didn't say that. You said has money ever kept a marriage? But
No, I didn't state or not state, but I'm talking about. I'm gonna push it to right now because this is the time that we live in.
but yeah, I would say yes, even still to this day. Yeah,
Okay, what are the divorce rates?
women are likely to file like 68%.
It's a little higher than that, but I won't challenge that right now because I'm in the car.
Where'd you find
So
that? What number you saw?
oh, it's in the 70s. But see, the thing is, the reason why I'm asking that question is because to the fellas who are listening, it doesn't matter how much money you make. That doesn't promise you a solid wife. So I know what's being taught is fellas go out there and earn, which is cool. I ain't got a problem with that. But it hasn't stopped women from filing from divorce from those men.
Fifth, you're conflating two different things, right?
No, I'm making room for nuance. Go ahead. You can go ahead and bring your nuance in.
Because remember, before I said that 30.6% of African American couples are making the same amount of money. So you know that if that's you know that you can have an 80% inside of that 30%, right? So let's say it was 80, right? 80% of women file for divorce. That could be the 30% of women who are making the same amount of money. So there's no financial thing, right? That could be 15% of the people who make less than their husband. That could be 25% of women who make more. So even the divorce rate that you're saying, it cannot then correlate with the women who are having financial problems with their husbands, because that's not what that stat says.
And can I just
Well,
chime in on one point, please?
yeah, go ahead.
You know, I want to disagree slightly as well. It's not that, for example, that a lot of the marriages are there just for money. And again, if we're talking about culturally, you know, in my culture, we don't get married for money. That's not why we get married. We get married for our faith because it's one of our sunnahs to get married. It's our obligation to be married. So it's not about the money. There are many families who were married. I can agree with the fact that they weren't love marriages, but the love appeared in time, not for everyone. And maybe there were relationships where, you know, the woman got the worst end of it. But like I said at the very beginning, you know, our purpose that is one of the purposes, and it's one of our conditions of our faith to be married. So it's not for financial gain at all. We don't marry because the man's gonna, you know, for money. Part of him being a provider is part of his role, and our role is different. So I just wanted to make that very clear. It's not just because of his money, it's because of our own faith. It's one of our conditions to
I
our
wanted
faith.
I wanted to chime in on that. But when you peel back the onion, right? Because if my dependence is on you and my whole society has conditioned me that, oh my God, if I'm still in the house at 21, then my parents and my family have done something wrong. So now my skill set, all of my qualifications are simply I was conditioned and trained to cook and clean and be a wife.
Yeah.
So now now we're talking about your livelihood now depends on the connection with a man.
Yes.
So I would say that underlying that this is also tied to money. That sure there's a basis for it,
But
but in
see,
addition, in
see,
addition, In addition, that you have to be taken care of. It's time for you to be, not you per se, I'm not talking to, but it's
Yeah.
time for that person to get out of their family's home. And oh my God, what am I going to do? Because society is going to look at me, 22-year-old woman, as a failure. My family is going to fail. I'm going to be an outcast. So now I have to connect quickly. I have to hurry up and connect. I have to make this happen. And this is also going to depend on someone's finances and ability to protect and
Yes.
provide.
Yes. So I just want to make something else clear as well. See, our mindset is very different to the Western society. We don't see it as a bad thing to be a woman who is traditionally brought up and have these beliefs that we are trained from a very young age to be. We see it as very prideful. We take a lot of pride in it. So we don't have an issue with the role of being the main homemaker. We see it as a privilege. We see it as, it's a purpose. It's something that we're here for. Of course, he has to be able to look after us financially. But when our families are arranging the marriages, because it's not like I wouldn't be going out and saying, okay, I want to marry, Mohammed over there because he earns 80K and I think that's going to be sufficient. Now the roles have changed a little bit because now modern women are stipulating the amount. So now because with times it's changed, women are saying, well, if I'm going to get married and I'm expected to do this role, I now want this much money. Back in the day, that was not how it was. So when I'm looking at when my mum was married to my father or my mum's mum was, the parents would just find a suitable home, a decent home, a respectful home. That is what they looked at, the families. And that's how the connections were made. But we didn't have the mindset that we were being hard done by or it was wrong. It wasn't very much of a feminist way of thinking. That's not how. So it's and I can appreciate it's very difficult because it is a completely different mindset. But we don't see it as a bad thing. We don't see it as wrong because obviously we've been conditioned a certain way. So for us, that is the goal. And because it's one of our sunnahs in our religion, to be married, every Muslim must be married at least once in their lifetime. If they're not, it's just one, I don't know what to call it, goal or whatever that wasn't fulfilled. So for us, it's a good thing to be married and be in a marriage. I just want to add that adds any context.
And I don't have any good or bad, as morality isn't or judgment isn't really what my focus is. The conversation was about finances, and I just want to be very clear because finances drive a lot of things, even when marriage first started out. So marriage didn't start out in Christianity, just FYI. The marriage predates Christianity. And some of the foundational reasons that marriage was founded was because of stability in the connection with being able to build economically. So when we're talking about finances and how much it plays a part in relationships, specifically marriage, I don't want us to discount that or say, oh no, marriage doesn't really have anything. Oh, this is just more so that we love each other and more so about religion and more so about, because at the end of the day, this is going to be about survival. And this is also going to be about the way your community sees you if you are not able to do what you all have been conditioned to do.
Correct.
So then it does tie to it. So there is some connection. There is a direct correlation to finances. It may not be something that is gold diggerish because I think that the culture is very honorable. It may not be that, but I don't want to get it twisted that there still is hypergamy. There still is a dependence on the man to financially support you. So it is important.
But we also look for connection and stability being a main thing. So I guess the point I was making was it's not just for a financial gain. There are other elements to why we get married and why we're in a relationship. And it's and like I said, it's not often love marriage. It is normally an arrangement. I mean, they've got modern in time. So you get to meet the person, you'll get to talk to them and you can, take a little bit more time, so time and generation has changed. But it is about stability, connection, values, morals. Those are what the two knots are tied with, not so much how much is he making. The main thing is, can he look after his family at a suitable rate? Not that he has to earn 100K and he has to bring her a beautiful house and make sure she has a lavish lifestyle. None of those. It's a very, very basic style of living for two people to survive and whatever they do in between.
Let me
Well,
ask
let
you
me.
this,
Well,
Dr.
well,
Love.
let me.
If he's not able to provide, just out of curiosity, if in situations where the husband is not able to financially provide, what is able to be done and what typically happens?
You know what, T? I'm going to be honest with you. From the generation men that I know, like my father, like my uncles, like
No.
family relatives. I'm just going to answer your question. From the men that I know from that era, I've not known any man who's not been able to provide. So I guess the lesson there is, if they have to do 2 jobs, if they have to do 3 jobs, if they have to work 16-hour shifts, that is what they will do.
What about
If
this
they
era?
have to. No, but but even in this generation of men from my community are very lazy, don't have the same ethics. So somewhere it's gone wrong, but they still have that responsibility. So when they get married, they know they're going to have to step up. But what I'm saying is the mindset is different, T. If they have to do 3 jobs, 4 jobs, 5 jobs, whatever they have to do, they know what their responsibilities, they know what their role is. So whether it's day or night, they have to get out there and find a
I
job.
hear you, but I want to get to the core. In this situation, there has to be some situation that in your lifetime and through your studies, whatever, that you are aware of, that in your culture, the man was not able to provide. So my question is, reasonably, what is the woman able to do from that perspective? Because it's like we spin and kind of shift it to, oh, it's this, is that. Let's just focus on, if the man is not able to provide, is she able to divorce? Is it okay for her to leave him? What is it that she's able to do that is acceptable within your culture?
Dr. Love, in practical terms, what if he loses his job?
I think if he loses his job, this is where family would normally chip in. The community would help. The wife, if she's able to work, and she would even go out and get a job. So we support each other. We're a community.
Okay, so they don't leave the men when he's not able to provide. So if a
He
man comes,
might be disabled. Like I know lots of people in the community who, out of health, have
Right.
lost, so what happens then is either the community chips
not
in.
that though. You kind of spin it each time. I'm just looking
You
at the
ask me a
fundamental.
question. No, but you see, T, when you ask questions, right, you can't spin it for your own narrative. I've given you an answer. You said to me, what happens if the man loses his job or
No, I
cannot
didn't say
provide?
lose job.
Well, okay, maybe I said it. Either way, you said, what if he can't provide? What happens? And I've given you an answer which you don't want to accept, which is the community will step in, the parents will step in, the wife will step in, because we work as a community. So either way, if he can't provide because he is unable to work for whatever reason, the community, the family, or the wife will step in. That's
Just
the
to be
answer.
clear, you ducked the question and I had to redirect you. So that's the thing on some of these things that are very fundamental understanding. I think it's quite the opposite, that you want your narrative, when I'm just asking, because the comparison is that in our community, in the Western community, the women, they want this and they want that, and we don't do that. So I was asking you a specific question when we're talking about provider men, and in a situation when a man is not able to provide, we already know what we're saying that the women do in our community because we get divorced. When I asked you, it's like, I've never seen that. I only been to this. So I'm like, nope, tell me some scenario. And then you also put an additive to that. Well, if he's disabled, if he's this, I'm not talking about none of that. I'm saying, because we didn't put none of them nuances on the Western women. I was just trying to get a direct answer from you.
I'm
Do
with
y'all
you.
women leave people
Got it.
too? Do y'all
Of course they do.
leave them?
Of course they do, but generally it's not because he's broke. That isn't why we tend to leave. It's very, back in the day, it was very less likely that the women would leave. Now, so it's changed. There are more women who are Asian who will leave their husbands. And it could be because of money. I'm not saying it's not now. It could be because, they don't want to live that lifestyle. There's lots of differences. So there's a lot of reasons why now it would happen. Back in the day, from what we were talking about, they wouldn't leave just because he's lost his job. And I hope that answers your question. But do they have the choice to leave? Of course they do.
Hey, final thoughts, everyone. I gotta go. Final thoughts.
Oh, cool.
Well, let me. I'll continue this. This seemed to get hot at the end. I have to continue this particular topic because I know it went from the actual main topic, but I'll continue this next week. So y'all go ahead, give y'all final remarks because I gotta go. I gotta go to work.
If I may, ladies, just real quick. So just to answer that question, if the man is not, if he can't work for whatever reason, and his wife is making a majority of the bulk of the money. Let's say she's making 100,000 and he lost his job, can't work, got laid off, whatever. In a situation like that, there should be a trade off. Okay. I don't recommend it, but if you want your family to stay intact and you want your family to stay together, let's just say if it were me, like my wife, she makes over 100,000. I make about 3 times what she does. But if it got to a point where I couldn't work and I lost my investments, I lost everything, and then I couldn't work and she was making all the money, well, what I would do is I would jump in, I would do the majority of the housework, the cooking. Well, I do all the cooking anyway because I'm a chef, but I would do everything that she was doing internally inside the house. I would trade that off. I would take that off her plate because there has to be something there that allow things to still to mesh together as they should in that marriage relationship. Because I couldn't expect for her to still work and then come home, clean, tend to the children, whatever. I would pick up the slack because I would still want my family to stay intact. So I would pick up the slack so that way it wouldn't be an additional burden. So my wife wouldn't look at me sideways like, okay, well, you're not making any money. I'm making all the money. I'm tending to the kids. I'm cleaning the house. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. So I suggest that it will be a trade-off, whereas though the man will pick up some of the slack of his wife, so it still will be equal in the house.
Got it. So my final thoughts are, I think, does he mean on the whole life? On the whole life, I still feel that roles within a relationship do work. Just to make it clear so each person knows what their responsibilities are, and whatever those roles are, I think each relationship, it's for that relationship to determine whatever the rules are or whatever roles they want to take, so they're both very, very clear on what's happening and who's doing what. I think, there are different cultures, different ways of thinking. I think mindset matters a lot, how we view certain things and how we look at things when it comes to relationships. And I think, certainly speaking about what we were talking about a minute ago, I definitely still go with back in the day, things were very different and now they are changing. And I think that was the premise we started off at the early part, where things in today's generation, even in my culture, are very different. They are changing. They're switching up, not at the same rate as the rest of the world. We're very slow, but we're catching up. There are things that are different now as opposed to what was before, which might explain why it's so messed up in 2026. Because roles are all over the place, expectations are all over the place, things have changed. And yeah, I just feel like it somewhat worked before, and something's not right now. It's just not working. That's it.
You going to? Oh, well, it was a great live, great conversation. I appreciate the diversity, and I agree with Dr. Love. That people just have to be aligned. That when you choose your partner, make sure that you are aligned with them. That we're not choosing because of the world. That you're choosing for yourself. It should be tailor-made. But yeah, great conversation, and I wish you all a great rest of your afternoon.
And I would say, for my final thought, that one, men identify their masculinity through production. So if that's how you define your masculinity, then just be prepared for women to also do the same and to also want you to do more than them. I don't think that's how things should be set up. However, I do think you will find what you're looking for. Also, I don't believe that gender roles are good. I do believe roles are good. Gender roles are why people are unhappy in their relationships still to this day. Roles are efficient for an organization's success. And those are very different things. We have yet to understand the difference between a gender role and then a partnership role. And that's it.
Hey, quick question, Jess. Quick question.
I'm listening.
For any woman who uses her sexuality and equates that to her femininity, should men be going after them for that?
And do.
Okay. But is it okay?
Is it okay for the man to go after a woman who boasts her sexuality?
Yes, ma'am.
No.
All right, just making sure. All right, everyone. Thanks for y'all coming on the panel. I appreciate everybody. I'm gonna go. I don't really have a final thought, but I'm gonna go. This topic, be on the lookout. I feel like it needs a whole show dedicated to it. Okay, so I will address this next Thursday.
Okay. Be
Okay,
here. Bye bye.
next Thursday we'll have a more deep in depth conversation about contributions and culture and stuff like that because I think that deserves its own slot. Okay, so I go live every Tuesday and Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 12 Central, on TikTok. Dr. Love picked a topic for this Thursday, that she's going to be hosting with me, okay? So I want everybody to tune in because Dr. Love's topic is, do people behind the screens interfere with, oh God. Dr. Love, you remember the title? I forgot.
Love you, head of you. I think what you went with, I don't know if you decided that was going to be it, but does social media, God, there's a lot of sound. Does social media, I don't know if you went with, does social media influence relationships on here, or it was, does,
Yeah, I
I don't
went
know
with
what
your,
you went with,
so
going with.
I went with your direct, sentence. And I made a thumbnail on it. I'll send it to you, but it's yes, it's behind the screens, meaning social media. Yeah, do social media have an influence on interfering with people's relationships and stuff like that? Yeah,
Yeah.
Sounds like a good one. Okay.
I'll get with you on that. If it needs refining, it needs refining, but I'll
Yeah,
send
because
it to you.
there were about six titles. I don't know which one, but
Yeah,
basically the sense is, you know, when people are in relationships
yeah,
on social media, do people behind the
mhm,
screen or keyboard warriors, do they interfere, and how do they
right,
interfere? That kind of stuff.
Okay, that sounds like a good one. Okay, y'all.
right.
Y'all enjoy. Take care.
All
Love
right.
you.
Hey,
Night,
hey,
everyone.
hey, T, you there? Well, I just want to thank T personally for coming on the panel and contributing to the show. She was here most of the time. Shout out to T. Up here, we are very respectful. If we get passionate, we'll bring it back down. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that I like to keep a level of decorum and respect up here, and just know that, not take it so personal. Be respectful, but not take it so personal. We have passionate conversations.
And
On here, but
all right. Night, night, everyone.